Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
Good evening, friends, and welcome inside North Bay Memorial Gardens as you are watching Battalion Hockey here on the front line. Tonight's matchup features the Windsor Spitfires flying into North Bay, their only visit of the season to take on the Central Division leading North Bay Battalion. I am your host, Derek Lindemann, and you are watching this pregame show brought to you by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Huerta Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit lahuertaimports.com for more details.
A battle tonight as 2 of the top 10 teams in the nation will go head-to-head here on Memorial Ice Gardens. The Windsor Spitfires coming off of a road loss weekend, a 9-5 defeat to the Oshawa Generals, will be without their superstar Shane Wright for tonight's game as he is out with an ankle injury. And the North Bay Battalion, currently ranked 9th, fell a couple spots in the rankings last week, but looking to get back on their winning ways after a 2-1 victory Sunday against the Sudbury Wolves. Ben, really exciting matchup here. Top 2 teams basically in the league right now.
Yeah, and this is their final meeting of 2 this season, as they went earlier on in the year. They played in Windsor and they lost 6-3. So kind of interesting. With that loss Windsor had against Oshawa, at the time they were tied for points with the Battalion winning against Sudbury. They're now 2 points ahead and sole possession of second in the OHL. They are now only 2 points behind Ottawa as well for first overall in the OHL and in the Eastern Conference.
So this could likely be one of the OHL possible finals. Windsor was there last year. They were the Western champion. They've teetered their lineup a little bit, adding Shane Wright at the trade deadline. He will not be in the lineup tonight, but Matthew Maggio is in the lineup, though, for the Spitfires.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting with the Windsor Spitfires is they've been very hot. They've won 9 of their last 11. They were on a 6-game win streak until they snapped it against Oshawa, and they're kind of in the middle of a 5-game road trip. This is their 3rd game in 5 days, and they've been the one thing that's really struggled with Windsor is they're giving up goals. In the last 2 games, they've given up 16 goals, 7 to Barrie in an 8-7 win, and then, of course, on Sunday, 9 goals to the Oshawa Generals, which isn't looking too good. Again, you talk about Maggio as well. Maggio has been absolutely absolutely fantastic. He had 2 goals in their past game against Oshawa, as he leads the team with 62 points, and he has been an absolute fire. Again, Windsor, they score goals. They scored more in their last 7 games. They've scored over 5 goals in every game except for one when they won 4-1 against London. So they put the puck in the net, but they also allow a lot of goals on the other end as well.
And they do. And one of those players that we're going to feature tonight in our Mike the Financial Advisor Players to Watch is the 2 Christopoulos brothers.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike the Financial Advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
What better way to mark the return of Alex Christopoulos in the North Bay than making him the player to watch for the Windsor Spitfires? 26 goals on the season, having an excellent season himself with the Spitfires. And why not look at his brother Paul, who's getting that confidence back on the defensive end for the North Bay Battalion. 2 really good people, and they're going to be our focus tonight. Let's start with Alex. 26 goals. Who could have expected that with the way he was performing here in North Bay?
Yeah, and Windsor, right now he's 3rd in Windsor scoring, which again is pretty impressive when you imagine it was at 62 points in just over 40-odd games, right? So Alex Christopoulos has been absolutely fantastic for the Windsor Spitfires. If you look at his brother, though, his brother's not doing too bad either. He's 2nd in defense and points, only 15 on the season. Of course, who's number 1? Who else but Ty Nelson, who has over 50 points this season, which is absolutely ludicrous. But Christopoulos, plus 34. He leads the league in that plus minus, and we know that's not a perfect stat, but what it does tell you is that Christopoulos is doing a good job, whether it's with Winslow or Lucan in the last in this whole entire season, in keeping the puck out of his net, and he's doing a good job of creating offensive scoring chances, as we know what he's able to do when he's on the ice. So even though that's not a great telling in that statistic, it shows a lot when it's that high above 0.
And it's really confident to see how much Ryan Houlihan is utilizing Paul Christopoulos, especially in that defensive role, and it's showing with his plus-minus stats. He's a player that you can be counted on in that dying minute of a game.
Yeah, exactly, and he's very similar. He's kind of like Nelson, but he's not quite as the same tier as Nelson, but he's a very similar kind of player. He's a guy who will take the puck into the offensive zone. He'll come up in rushes. We've seen that with a couple of Battalion defensemen, but I find Christopoulos next to Nelson is one of those people who has a lot of confidence to join the rush, to create opportunities, and it kind of pays off. And I think the points will come. I think he's a better than 15-point player in 40-some games. And I think those points will come as he gets a little bit more comfortable. And I think he's a guy who can potentially be a 40-plus point person in a season.
Yeah, and he looked that way back in his rookie season. COVID kind of hampered that with a little bit, and he was a little slow getting his confidence back last year. But that's the key this year, is that confidence. Ryan Houlihan really likes him in those positions. He was on the second power play there. Winslow now taking that spot. But Christopoulos is a go-to guy.
Yeah, and I think with playing with Avery Winslow, what helps is the same thing with Brandon Hinslow up on that top line with Nelson. When you have a guy who's very good defensively in Winslow, it allows you to be able to join the rush and be a little bit more aggressive, knowing that you have that great defensive player behind you. And I think with Winslow being on his side, not saying anything against Lucan because he's also fantastic, but having a veteran guy like Avery Winslow who's in that spot, I think will give him a little bit more confidence. And I think we've seen that in the last few games, that he's been a little bit more kind of aggressive, and he's played some really good hockey lately.
So looking at the Windsor Spitfires, the big key is Shane Wright. Unfortunately, he's out of the lineup. Probably won't be returning this weekend, as this is the only northern trip for the Windsor Spitfires this year. They'll be in Sudbury tomorrow evening. It's just, when you look at the depth, they're starting to build, also looking to get back to that championship this year. You got Brett Harrison down the middle, Alex Christopoulos on the second line. They're a deep team also.
Yeah, they're very, very deep. That's what both of these teams are really good at. They both have some really, really solid defensively. We always talk about how deep the Battalion are offensively, and I think Windsor's right in that exact line. Their top 6, absolutely fantastic, and they've got some good depth in their bottom 6 as well. The big question mark for Windsor, though, this season has been goaltending, and it's been something that they've struggled with.
And that always seems to be the difference when you're comparing the Eastern Conference Conference to the Western Conference. The Western Conference seems to be a little bit more wide open, fire wagon band hockey that we saw back in the 80s, and it's the teams like to put up a lot of goals, but they give up a lot also.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very important game, I think, for the Battalion. They've played kind of not that great since coming back from the Christmas break on the 28th. Yes, they went on a 9-game win streak. Yes, they had played very well in terms of winning games, but they haven't played their best, most solid hockey, and we saw that when they played Hamilton and Mississauga. Now, if you look at that game yesterday, the game on Sunday against Sudbury, 2-1, a very good defensive game in the last 40 minutes, a little bit sloppy in the first. Ryan Houlihan said that he was very excited with what he saw. He said they're getting back on the right track. I think the key for them in this game, it's going to be very important for the Battalion to play a solid game, even if they don't come away with a victory. If they play very good hockey, that's going to be a big confidence booster, and they'll say, hey, this is an OHL final potential matchup. We can stick with these guys. We've been playing a lot of bottom-tier teams. Now we can play against some of the best in the league. If they come out and lose and they play sloppy, Ryan Houlihan's going to have to figure out what's going on with this team lately.
And we've been talking lately about how the North Bay Battalions seem to be playing at the level of their opposition. We've seen how they didn't have their best games last week against Mississauga or Hamilton or even Sudbury in that 2-1 victory. And it's interesting to see how after that stretch, we talked about it, it's been 8 games where you've been playing a bottom-tier team. This is the first real challenge this year since the calendar has flipped to feature one of the top teams, and it's how can the Battalion come out of the gate to match the energy level of the Windsor Spitfires.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for the Battalion is it's going to be their finishing touch. Their scoring has had some struggles in the last week, and by that I mean if you look at the way they've been shooting the puck, it's been a lot at the bottom of the zone, which if you look at goaltenders in the last 30 years where the butterfly style's gotten super, it's basically the only style people play now, right? If you look at that style of hockey, you can't score on the bottom part unless you're on a breakaway and you find it in the 5-hole. It's very hard to score on the lower part of the zone. When the Battalion were putting the puck up in the zone, it was right into the body of the goaltenders. They need to find the corners, and one of the guys who needs to get going is Josh Bloom. We talk about how he struggled. It's been quite a while that he scored a goal. Now look at what he's done. 31 points in 26 games since coming over from Saginaw, and he's in 10 games it's been since his last goal on the 28th against Sudbury where he potted 2. In that time, he has 6 points. Doesn't sound bad, but 3 of those points coming in 1 game. So he's been held off the score sheet in 6 games, which is not okay in that sense. So we got to see Josh Bloom getting going on 5-on-5, and that's going to be a big thing in this game.
And I know that seems to be a lot of the chatter that's going on around this building. Hearing a lot of it as I make my way around the building, getting to between the benches, is the talk of where has Josh Bloom gone? And it's just that, is how can you reestablish his game? We got to get him moving. He was brought over here to be a leader, one of the point getters for the North Bay Battalion, as he is on the line with Kyle Jackson and getting the start back up on that top line, Kyle McDonald. What an insertion there. We've seen him get on that line in the third period the last couple of games, but he's going to play the full 60 minutes as of right now on paper.
Yeah, and I think if Bloom can get going, if he can get that hot streak that he had in November, December, he's going to be imperative. But on the flip side, let's talk about something good for a change here. Petrov, last 5 games, 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. A couple of other guys in 5 games point streaks as well. Jackson, 1 goal, 7 assists in his last 5. McDonald, 6 goals, 4 assists in his last 5. Nelson, 5 goals, 4 assists in his last 12. So you can't really be too upset about that. But if we can get some scoring from Josh Bloom, if you can get some of that scoring from maybe that third line with Van Steetzl, Wakely, Romani, I think there's a potential here. But the Battalion need to score a lot of goals because we know how good Windsor is when it comes to scoring.
The Battalion will suit up the exact same lineup that was in the lineup for that victory against the Sudbury Wolves, that 2-1 victory last Sunday. Still out dealing with illness, Liam Arnsby, Luke Bruskowski, and Justin Ertl dealing with hand injuries. And Tanias Smithern we still know is long-term, so no changes there. Let's turn now to the goaltenders for tonight's game. Getting the start for the Windsor Spitfires, Joey Constanzo coming in with a 15-2 record, a .318 goals against average, and a .900 save percentage. Decent numbers for a goaltender that is really your backup goaltender.
Yeah, and if we start with DiVincentis for a second, he's looking to come back from a pretty poor start, giving up 6 goals in that start, which he would love to have back. So that's going to be big. The other thing with Windsor, that we were talking about this before the game, 6 times this season, Windsor has had to pull their goaltender, including their last game against Oshawa. To put that in perspective, the Battalion, it's only happened twice. So that's going to be very interesting to see. But as you said, again, Costanza's going to have a big game today. If the Battalion can find their scoring touch, it's going to be a really good game. But I think DiVincentis really needs to have one heck of a game here, because Windsor, if there's one thing they do really well, it's put the puck in the net.
And getting the start, like we said, Dom DiVincentis for the North Bay Battalion, coming in with a 23-6-1 record, 251 goals against average, and a .910 save percentage. Those numbers are out of this world, still at the top of the goaltender numbers.
Yeah, and again, when you talk about goaltending, that's really what is the make or break for playoff teams. And I think if you're the Battalion, you have to be very happy with what Dom DiVincentis has done this year, and hopefully what he will do going into those playoffs. And if I'm Windsor, it's something that I'm a little kind of worried about, but we'll kind of see how that shakes up, as, again, both these teams, they're looking at the playoffs, but right now the Battalion are trying to catch Ottawa, because that home ice is going to be a big deal, especially if they're first overall in the OHL and they get to that finals. We know how well they love playing here at Memorial Gardens.
This is the only game this week for the North Bay Battalion at home as they take on the Spitfires. The rest of the weekend looks like this. They'll be in Niagara on the 28th, Saturday. And then again in Oshawa, that 6:05 start there in Oshawa to take on the Oshawa Generals. 2 of the weaker teams right now in the Eastern Conference. You can't look past. You've got to play a solid game tonight and worry about the weekend when we get there.
Exactly, and again, it's going to be interesting in the game that they play today. If they play a sloppy game like they have lately, cause for concern. But if they come out here and play really well, despite, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. If they play a really solid game, that's going to be a huge confidence booster. And again, every point matters. We go back. If they would have won against Mississauga, if they would have taken an extra point against Hamilton, they would be first right now in the OHL. All of that matters. When you get a chance to take over from Ottawa, that's absolutely huge, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the weekend.
It's going to be a really interesting game here. There was a lot of excitement around this game, knowing that the Windsor Spitfires currently sitting in that 8th spot in the national rankings. North Bay Battalion coming in that 9th spot, as these are 2 of the top teams in the nation. We'll go head-to-head here tonight on the Frontline broadcast. When we return, Matt Sukram will join Ben Sargent with all of your hockey action here, as it's the Spitfires Battalion on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
And we welcome you to Memorial Gardens. Matthew Sucrum with you here alongside Ben Sargent as we get set for another game between the North Bay Battalion and the Windsor Spitfires. And the Battalion coming in off a week where they won 2 out of the 3 games they played. Or sorry, they lost, or they won 1 game. They got a point in 2 of the 3 games they played, but really left a lot of room to look for some improvements over those 3 games.
Yeah, and they were both very winnable games. If you look at the Hamilton game, it was very sloppy defense, and ironically, the thing that caused the overtime winning goal was a bad defensive play by, in a way, both DiVincentis and Ty Nelson. So it's going to be interesting. You look at Mississauga, they had a very solid game. However, they let up goals in the first minute in every single period, and they ended up giving up 5. The latest goal scored was at the 3:46 mark of the second period in terms of late into a period. So it was one of those very winnable games, and unfortunately for the Battalion, those are points to leave on the table. And again, you win those games that you should win. They're first in the OHL right now, and unfortunately for them, they're 2 points behind Ottawa as we come into action tonight.
The Battalion have beaten the Spitfires just twice in the 6 meetings over the last 5 seasons. We'll see if they can right the ship on that category tonight as the puck is dropped and we are underway. It's into the North Bay zone with Zito on the puck. He sends it up ahead to Tarasevic, who drops it to Hislop. Hislop now carries it forward and sends it into the Spitfire zone. It's off the back of the Spitfire's net, and it is picked up back there and cleared. Spellacy chasing it, throws a hit on Nelson. That allows Morneau to come into the zone. Morneau to the middle of the North Bay zone, gets knocked away from the puck, and now Zito goes the other way for North Bay. His dump in is knocked the other way, and now Maggio goes in on the right wing side, takes a shot, and the save is made by DiVincentis.
So if you look at that game in Sudbury, in the first period, they really struggled because they were always on their heels. Sudbury was forechecking very hard into the defensive zone when the Battalion had puck possession, and they were struggling trying to get some sort of transition game going, trying to get it into the neutral zone. What's very interesting, though, in coming into this hockey game is going to be if they can play on their heels a little bit more and if they can be a little bit more aggressive on that time.
19:16 remaining in the first period. No score. That was the first shot on net that DiVincentis made the save on, as now Winslow fires it up off the glass and out of play. So they'll have to reset and have another face-off inside the defensive zone. Winslow is the guest on this week's episode of the Frontline Podcast. He talks about his 5 seasons in the OHL, splitting time between London and North Bay. And you can download that episode now wherever you get your favorite podcast, or you can watch it right here on the Frontline Game Day Broadcast YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And Winslow this time sends it around to the near side off the draw, gets it to the stick of Paul Christopoulos, who gets it out to the neutral zone. But that's where the Spitfires take over, and they come right back in on the left wing side. That's Maggio there, trying to get the shot off. He gets blocked. And it is Josh Bloom picking up the loose puck and sending it out of the zone down the ice. Dropping back is Nicholas DeAngelis for the Spitfires. He sends it down the right wing for Maggio. Maggio sends it in. Save made. Big rebound, but Maggio gets tied up by Winslow. Maggio gets a shot off that play, and it's stopped by DiVincentis. And now it's Josh Bloom finding the loose puck, and he'll carry it out of the zone. 18:30 to go as it's Bloom dumping the puck in. He sends it around to the far side boards, and that's Dionisio, the former Niagara Ice Dog, who gets it down the right wing side for Jodwen, and he plays it up to Mallette over the blue line to the left wing side, trying to get a shot off, but the player Alex Christopoulos was falling down, trying to get that shot off his stick, maybe holding it a little too tight in his return here to North Bay in the early going. 18 minutes to go in the first period, no score. The Battalion back in their own zone, retreating to get the puck. It's Nelson who plays it up ahead, but it's Christopoulos who picks it off his former teammate. He tries to play it in front of the net, but Lucan takes that one away. And it is finally cleared out of the zone for the North Bay Battalion, but getting down low to stop the puck in the neutral zone was Cristofaro, but they're going to call a hand pass against him. So with 17:46 remaining in the first period, there's no score, and the faceoff will be inside the neutral zone.
I talk about Alex Christopoulos. What a pickup for the Windsor Spitfires. I almost said Niagara because we were talking about that earlier. But yeah, Alex Christopoulos, 3rd in points on the team, 26 goals, 18 assists. Over a point per, or it's just under, a point per game player right now, and you got to be very, very happy with what you see out of him if you're Windsor.
Yeah, I think you'll redo that trade any day if you're the Windsor Spitfires, that's for sure. Shot in towards the Spitfires goaltender, Costanzo. It's saved and sent into the far side corner. And now it's sent around to the near side boards. That is Bouchard. Plays it behind the net to Terrien. He tried to play it out in front, but it's knocked away and cleared out of the zone by the Spitfires. Down the ice they come. It's knocked away from the stick of Castle by Kennedy, and Kennedy sends it down the right wing side. Now dumped in down the left wing. It's off the boards, redirected right to Costanzo, and he holds on to it. Fourth stoppage in play. Costanzo having a really impressive season in his first year in Windsor Spitfires colors.
Yeah, Costanzo is going to be a big part of this team if they want to have success, especially here tonight. As we talked about, their kind of some struggles in net. They've been pulled 6 times. Windsor goaltender has been pulled during a game, which is quite a few. Costanza has given up quite a few goals as well. He gave up 4 of the 8 in that game against Oshawa and 7 against Barrie.
Shot in towards the net. That's stopped in front of the Windsor net, and it's Cristofaro bringing it down the ice. Well, Cristofaro and Christopoulos are going to be throwing me off today. One's 84, the other one is 74.
And they're not related.
So, no, sorry, one's 48. Maybe I should get those ones switched around, right? So the puck is dumped into the Windsor zone. It's picked up by Morneau. He sends it up to the North Bay blue line. The Battalion had a chance to get it cleared, but keeping the puck in the zone was DeAngelis, and he sends it towards the front of the net, but Petrov is there to stop it. Excuse me, as we return. It is into the North Bay zone, but there was a player offside to Tarasevic, so he couldn't touch the puck, and that allows DeAngelis to get the puck around into the North Bay zone. Is picked up in the far side corner. Is now sent to the point. That is Colton Smith. He sends it wide on the net. Bounce back out to the near side boards, and Harrison took a whack at it. That's blocked by Christopoulos, and it's out of the zone with Jackson leading the way down the ice to the other end. He took a shot, it went off his stick and deflected into the corner, and it's picked up behind the net by DeAngelis in the Spitfire zone. They can't clear. It's McDonald on the ice who's got control of the puck. Driving to the net, McDonald gets the shot, puts a save made by Costanza at 15:44 remaining in the first period. Still no score.
Well, we talk about McDonald. It's kind of interesting. The last couple of times we've seen McDonald be on the third line with Wakely and Van Stiesel and then get moved back up to that first line. Of course, with Ertl being out, it's different. And every time it seems to happen in the third period, that line really does really well. Kyle Jackson, of course, having a big game against Sudbury with that kind of a lucky bounce to get the go-ahead goal in that game in the third period. But again, that 5-game point streak right now, for both these guys, Jackson a goal and 7 assists in his last 5. McDonald 6 goals, 4 assists in his last 5. Both have been hot.
Yeah, he's been really good since his return to the lineup. Millette out of the Spitfire zone, down the ice, gets it over the blue line, sends it to the slot, to the left side. It's Christopoulos who scores. He says, "Remember me? That's what I can do." It's 1-0 for the Spitfires over the North Bay Battalion.
Well, the Battalion have played they played a pretty decent defense in the first 5 minutes or so, and that's just a play where nobody picks up Christopoulos going to the end, and what a beautiful feat is. DiVincenzo's not really much he can do there as he has to try to slide to block off that side of the net. Really great play by Christopoulos there to find some open spot, and not a good play by the Battalion trying to pick some guys up. That's something that they're going to have to pick up. Again, we talk about Windsor's a team, they'll put the pucks in the net. The Battalion are going to have to find their scoring touch, though, as they've been kind of struggling to find the back of the net, and that's going to be a big difference in this hockey game potentially.
Alex Christopoulos with his 27th goal of the season. And now the Battalion looking to respond. It's Jackson sending it down the blue line to Luke, and he fires it in. It's off the skate of Mallette and over the glass and out of play. And that is, I mean, you couldn't script that any better if you are Alex Christopoulos and the Windsor Spitfires. And, you know, that's a... Again, it's an early goal, 15-17 to go in the first period, but for the North Bay Battalion, scoring first has really been their bread and butter this season. They're 21-0-1 when they do score the first goal of the game, 9-11-1 when the opposing team scores first.
Yeah, and this, again, was just an instance where Windsor takes advantage of a really kind of not being able to pick up Christopoulos on the side of the net. If you're the Battalion, you want to basically very fast get a return here and try and score one yourself. And I think they're going to be able to do that, but it's going to be all about getting pucks to the net and trying to get some by Costanzo.
In behind the net, picked up by Rodwin Dionisio of the Spitfires. He sends it down the ice, and then off the end boards, there's a redirect on the backhanded shot towards Steven Chentis, but it goes over his glove and stays out of the back of the net. Now it's going the other way. Romani plays it to the right side to Wakely. Wakely fires it in on net. Costanzo makes a save. Picked up on the near side boards by Romani. Gets some room in the slot. Takes a shot. Save made. Rebound chance. Everybody looking for the puck. And it's in the back of the net. Dolan Wakely ties the game 1-1.
Yeah, Costanzo not very happy. He's talking to the referee there, thinking it's goaltender interference.
And so is the head coach of the Windsor Spitfires. He's incensed that is going to come back against the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, he's saying no goal on the bench. And it's very hard to see from our standpoint. It looks like a big mob of people in front of the net. But yeah, Wakely, and this is what we were talking about. Get the puck to the net. Romani shoots on it, as we can see the replay at least here. And not a very good job of that camera work, apparently, as it's hard to see. But we'll see. Here's another look as we can see. The question is Wakely or Van Stietzel there? But I don't know. I don't see anybody in that blue ice really stopping.
But it's also, where is the stick, right? Are they impeding the goaltender from making the save? And it looks like
they're going to look for offside.
The review for offside. So
that's always what it is. Whatever you think it's goalie interference, it's always offside.
But that is going to come back about 30, 45 seconds there where they were in the zone there. And you know what, Ben? When they enter the zone, I thought it looked pretty close. Let's go downstairs. Maybe Derek Lindemann has a better read on this. Derek, what's going on downstairs?
The coaching staff from the Windsor Spitfires, they're challenging the goaltender interference and whether or not Owen Van Stietzel pushed the pad of the goaltender into the net. And you know what, it's going to be close there, but when you look at the replay, it doesn't look like he actually touched the goaltender until after the puck was in the goal anyway. So just curious how they see this.
Derek, we just actually heard that over the PA that they're actually challenging an offside.
I know.
Oh, so that's not correct.
Well, the talk down here and watching Mark Savard was about the push in. So wait and see as the referees now are coming across the ice.
And that's what I thought it was when I was looking at Savard's reaction. He was making the gesture that the puck was poked past the goaltender and that there was interference on the stick. So it looks like we're going to get the call here.
No,
it looks
so just here's what's happening is that Kane, the referee, Brendan Kane, came over and said that the play is onside. Now he wishes to challenge the goaltender interference.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So, Derek, we've seen this probably 3 or 4 times in the last 3 or 4 home games. There has been some controversy surrounding goals scored on both the Battalion side and the opposition side. How have you seen momentum maybe swing when you come out of these goal calls?
Yeah, and you know what? There has been a lot of topics discussed across social media. Is the length of time that it takes these goaltenders or these goal calls to be looked at. It's a really lengthy process that they go at, and the referee is actually out there now with the tablet, and sometimes it's up to almost 5 minutes how long it takes a call to actually be made. There's almost been talk to whether or not there should be a time limit put on this, because really if there's no evidence there to overturn it, why take such a lengthy review? There's only so many camera angles that have access to the referees. It shouldn't take as much time as it does, Matt.
Yeah, and I think that's something that upsets the fans. I think they should just go to a system where they show the replay on the screen and they let the fans vote on the outcome.
I don't think that would work, though.
So, and you know what? Looking from the fans down to your left, it's going to be a goal if you have any of their say as they are pointing into the goal right now.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, there's 14:43 remaining in the first period. The Spitfires do have a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Alex Christopoulos. But the North Bay Battalion could be tied with them, as right now we are reviewing a goal that right now is being accredited to Dolan Wakely, which would be his 20th of the season. Derek, let's just touch on Wakely for a second. What a couple of years he has had in a Battalion uniform. Whether this becomes his 20th goal or not, this will be the second goal in about a week that may or may not get accredited to him, but clearly it doesn't faze him. He is having a fantastic season.
Yeah, he's picking up right where he was last year. He scored 20 as a rookie in this league, and that's quite an accomplishment in itself. And if this goal stands, it will be his 20th again this year. And he's really looking to prove to the scouts out there in the NHL that he deserves to get an extra look at to get one of those draft spots that will be coming up this spring. He's having a good year, and he knows where the net is. He knows how to get there, and he knows how to put the puck in the back of the net.
And Ben, I think that's 2 draft picks by general manager Adam Dennis that are going to get second looks in this upcoming NHL draft. Alex Christopoulos of the Windsor Spitfires and Dolan Wakely of the North Bay Battalion should get decent looks in June.
Yeah, and you talked about Wakely, and the interesting thing about Wakely is he hasn't had a bit of a dry spell here in this last little bit. I would say in the last month or so. However, he has looked very good, even when he has. It looks like they accredited this as a good goal. So it indeed will be Wakely's 20th of the year, but. Yeah, he's looked, even when he hasn't been scoring or putting the puck in the net or getting assists or points, he still looks very good in that role as he's slotted into that center, his natural center position with when Arnsby's been out.
All right, Derek, one more word from you downstairs. What are you hearing as to why that goal was allowed to tie up this game?
Exactly what I said earlier, that the push on the goaltender came after the puck. It was in the net. Mark Savard was very livid on the Windsor Spitfires bench about the decision. He's not happy with it, but we have a 1-1 game no matter what.
Well, I thought they had a better chance of getting an offside than they did on the goaltender interference, but neither of those stand, and here we go. It's 1-1 between the Battalion and the Spitfires. Dolan Wakely with his 20th goal of the season, Ben.
Divincendo's getting a little lucky there as he sends the puck off the glass out of play, so no penalty there, but very close to putting themselves. But you know this is going to be a good game, and in the first 5.5 minutes, already teams trading goals, and it's going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair, and again, if the Battalion can play toe-to-toe with Windsor Spitfires, and again, they can have that good defense, that's kind of the big thing that you're looking to take out of this hockey game.
Well, these are the 2 highest-scoring teams in the OHL. There's a shot off the draw that just goes wide. Played off the boards by North Bay. And down the left wing side comes Terry into the Spitfire zone. He drops the puck back to the blue line, but it's Millette who takes over there and gets it out of the zone. Over the North Bay blue line and shot right back the other way. Down in the middle of the neutral zone. Winslow picks up the puck and he sends it down into the Windsor end. And it's Windsor who would take over the puck back there. DeAngelis looking to skate out of the zone with it. DeAngelis fires it down the ice. Played in around to the near side. Castle tries to play it to the middle. A couple guys whacking at the puck. It's bouncing around. Goes to the near side corner. Still in the North Bay zone. Down the point. That's Cristofaro with it. Cristofaro walks to the middle. Goes to the left side. Takes a shot. That's fired wide. Picked up on the near side by Oliver Peer. Peer plays it behind the net. That's picked up back there by Spellassi. Spellassi has it in the corner, and he sends it around to the far side. Cristofaro will let it come out of the zone, and he'll control it in the neutral zone. Passes across to the near side of Holmes, and he fires it in. Whipped around the boards again. It's Tarasevic who gets the puck up ahead to Zito. Zito over the blue line, over the Windsor blue line, but they're saying that he did not drag the puck with him when he was holding that line, so it'll be offside against the North Bay Battalion with 13-14 remaining in the first period. 1-1 the score.
And really, when you look at this kind of winning streak that they've been on, it's a lot because of this line of Tarasevic, Zito, and Petrov. If you look at Petrov in his last game again, 7 goals, 4 assists. Zito, since being acquired from this Spitfire team, 11 points in 12 games, 4 goals, 7 assists.
North Bay bring the puck back into the, check that. Windsor brings the puck back into the North Bay zone. Millette turning at the circle. He gets knocked away from the puck, and North Bay bring it out. It's Zito over the blue line. Dumps it into the right side corner. Tarasevic chasing it over there. He gets knocked into the boards and loses the puck in the process. And now it is Christopoulos in possession for Windsor. He gets it over the blue line and down the left wing side of the neutral zone and dumped in. Christopoulos follows it in. He and Hislop tie up in the corner, and now it's Nelson who finds the loose puck, and Nelson will skate out of the zone with it, almost untouched here, going down to the opposite blue line and dumping it in past Costanzo. Nelson follows it to the near side boards, but it's the Spitfires who bump him off the boards and get him away from the puck, and they come right back down into the North Bay zone. Now it's taken over there by Lucan. Lucan lost it on the boards. In the middle of the zone, it's Bloom who finds it. He sends it out to McDonald, comes down the right wing side, going towards the net, and his shot is blocked by Costanzo. Well, it's opened up since that North Bay Battalion goal, 1-1 with 12:06 to go, but chances on both sides of the ice.
And that's the stuff that you love to see from McDonald Apps, as he's able to come in strong on that one side. Unfortunately, good job by Windsor defensively to keep him on the outside of the net. And one of the things I love about, as you start getting into the OHL, what you'll see is you'll see a lot more systematic kind of play. And one of the things that's really nice is with Nelson being an aggressive player, him and Christopoulos are both relatively aggressive. Jackson does a good job covering him on the defensive end, and you see that a lot from the Battalion, where their forwards are willing to go back and cover and give you that same defensive side. And that's something that's, again, when you play a lot of system-heavy hockey, that's what it does. And you can tell Houlihan really lets his team play kind of a pinching defense.
Out of the zone, Maggio has it for Windsor, but he's knocked off the puck by Lucan, who now sends it forward onto the stick of McDonald. He sends it up to Bloom. Bloom down the left wing side to the middle. Across the left side, McDonald. McDonald takes a shot. It's off his stick, over the glass, and out of play. 11:46 to go. 1-1 the score. You mentioned that it could be a high-scoring game. And like I said, these are the two highest-scoring teams in the OHL. North Bay come in at second with an average of 4.28 goals per game. They scored 184 in 43 games. That's trailing just these Windsor Spitfires, who score at 4.67 goals per game. What is this, the 1980s of the NHL? That is 196 goals in 42 games. Off the draw, Terrian with a chance. That's saved. Rebound by Wakely. It's stopped as well. The whistle goes up. A hook is being called. North Bay are going on the power play.
Well, just quickly talking about that offense, if you look at the other way and you look at the defense, North Bay has given up 123 goals. The difference, Windsor's given up 161 goals, almost 40, and both teams have only given up 4 empty net goals. So this isn't a situation where Windsor's given up a bunch of empty net goals. That's a big difference between these two teams, as now the Battalion, whose power play, they didn't do anything against Sudbury, but they've been relatively hot in their last few games, especially when you look at Nelson and Petrov and what they've done on this power play. And it's going to be very interesting to see if they can maybe potentially take a lead here about halfway through this first period.
North Bay off the draw. They lose the puck and they send it all the way down into the North Bay zone. Now they bring it forward. It's McDonald dumping it down the ice along the M boards. It's the Spitfires who pick it up and they send it right back out of the zone. Sent into the Windsor zone and sent right back out. Back and forth they go here. And already 40 seconds taken off the clock on this power play. Petrov trying to move it forward and get something done. He sends it along the boards, but it's picked up by the Spitfires, and now it's a delayed offside against North Bay. So Windsor takes the time to clear it, or clear the zone, and now they clear it all the way down the ice. Now North Bay shoots it back all the way down the ice, and there's a foot race to it between the goaltender Costanzo and Van Steensel. Costanzo gets the puck first and sends it up to the blue line, and then it's sent out of the zone by the Spitfires. Down to 40 seconds now on this Battalion power play. Up ahead to Van Steensel. Dumps it in. On the right side boards, to the point that's Winslow. Across the left side, Zito fires it, and it's off the skate of Costanzo. Down the blue line, Wakely sends it around to the near side corner. Zito is there. Zito holding it on the near side, below the goal line. Back to Zito, and he fires it wide of the net. Picked up on the far side by Wakely. Wakely's passing line is out of the reach of everybody, and racing towards the puck is Peary. Gets to it. 1-on-1 in the zone. Peary fires it just wide, looking for that shorthanded goal. It's back out to the neutral zone. Windsor controls, and we're back to 5-on-5 play, but Zito steals it in the neutral zone. Sends it up to Romani. Romani gets behind the defense. In on the goaltender. Drags it, and it's a save made by Costanzo.
What a nice save by Costanzo. Romani, unfortunately, just running out of room, but he's been all over the puck so far early on in this game.
Romani again coming in, fires it low, glove side, and just bounces wide. Now it's Procession feeding it to the middle, but knocked away from the stick of Tarasevic. Picked up by Christopoulos of the Spitfires. He sends it up ahead to Maggio, and Maggio comes down the ice, drops it back to Jodwin. Jodwin shot, save made, rebound chance, they score! Spitfires ahead 2-1 with 9:05 to play. And I believe it was Colton Smith who picked up that puck and fired it in. And yes, it is Smith who's leading the charge back to the bench.
Well, a perfect example of DiVincentis there, who gets this pad on it but throws it right in the way of the Spitfire of Smith, who's able to hit a pretty easy goal there. And again, you look at this in transition on both sides. Romani, a beautiful chance on Costanzo earlier, runs out of room, not able to lift that puck up in the air. And then you look on the other side, DiVincentis with that rebound control, putting it right to a Windsor player. That's, again, if you look at both these goals for Windsor, it's a situation where onto the left side of DiVincentis, there's a free player with nobody around them, and those are the kind of plays that defensively you need to tighten up.
9 minutes to go in this period. It's 2-1 Windsor. North Bay have the puck in the Spitfire zone. Christopoulos sends it around the near side boards. Bloom plays it into the corner for McDonald. McDonald sends it to the middle. Jackson's shot is stopped by the goaltender Costanzo, and that is where we will take our break. It's a 2-1 Spitfires lead. You're watching the Average Joe's Frontline Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Welcome back. We'll be joined by Derek, who's between the benches. And Derek, the North Bay Battalion started to look good at the end of that power play, but at the end of that sequence, it's the Spitfires who come away with the goal.
Yeah, the North Bay Battalion got caught with their fourth line out there. Just a little bit of a mismatch in the defensive zone. Weren't able to pick up the winger that was crashing to the side of the net as a juicy rebound sat there for Smith to bang it in. You can just see the difference down here at ice level, how the speed differs between what we've seen in the past compared to what we see tonight. A lot less ice and a lot less room for these players to make moves. So you don't have as much time with the puck when it's on your stick. You always got to know what you're doing with it before you have it. It's an interesting game, and it's going to be a back-and-forth game all night.
And play resumes. Puck inside the Spitfire zone. McDonald trying to get it off the far side boards for the Battalion. He's chipping at it. Millette is trying to get it away from him, and now it comes down to the blue line, and it's taken control by Jackson to the left side of Christopoulos. Paul Christopoulos sends it right in front of the net, but nobody there for North Bay. They cannot clear it, though. It's Nelson at the blue line, sending it around the end boards. It bounces off the boards, off the back of the net, picked up by Windsor, and they clear it out to the neutral zone. Christopoulos matching up there at the blue line, but it's the Battalion who come away with the puck and send it right back down the ice with 8:05 to play. The Spitfires take control of the puck in their own zone. Millette tried to spring Alex Christopoulos free. He was about a step behind his brother and Nelson, but he could not get control of the puck as it bounced off the heel of his skate and back out to the neutral zone. Now it's sent into the North Bay end. It's Petrov who has it. Plays it up ahead to Zito. Zito to the right side. Tarasevic coming in on the right wing. He fans on the first shot, gets it back, but then runs out of room as he tried to backhand it towards the goaltender Costanzo, and it's cleared now for Windsor. 7:30 to play in the first period. 2-1 Spitfires lead. Play on the near side boards. Castle trying to dig away at it. Winslow is down there. You've got DeAngelis involved as well. The Battalion finally get the puck away from that area. Send it up ahead to Petrov coming in on the left wing. Petrov now to the middle. Takes a shot. Save made. Rebound chance. He got a whack at it, but it went right into the glove of Costanzo for the stoppage in play. That's his 10th save of the game with 7:10 remaining in the first period.
Yeah, the big key for the Battalion, we talked about this in the pregame show, is about finishing their shots. And we talked how poorly they've done when it comes to shooting the puck and finishing their scoring opportunities. A lot of shots have gone to the pads, to the body of the goaltender. They need to start getting a little bit more control, getting some of those shots up to the corners, and that's when they start to have success in scoring goals. Puck
sent to the far side. Romani in the corner. It's Bouncing around, it comes to the half boards. Romani still controls, sets up Kennedy. Shot deflected by Wakely, just wide of the net. What a nice play by Romani, Kennedy, and Wakely, trying to tie up this game, but it's sent down into the North Bay zone as the Battalion trail 2-1. They're trying to get the puck out of that area. Sent around to the near side boards now. That is Van Steensel there. He'll drop back, clears some space, and gets it up to Wakely in the neutral zone. Wakely pushed from behind on the boards as Jodwin knocks him over, but Jodwin's pass is blocked by the Battalion, and now North Bay looks to go the other way. Their pass up the middle is blocked by Dionisio, and Dionisio, the former Niagara Ice Dog, he'll drop it back behind his own blue line to Spellacy, and Spellacy comes down the right wing side, gains into the attacking zone, drives towards DiVincentis, backhanded chance, but it's stopped by DiVincentis. Puck into the near side corner, back up to the blue line. That's Renwick. He fires it in the corner. Now it's around the end boards to the far side. That's McDonald there. He sends it down the ice, and this will be icing called with 5:59 to play in the second period. 2-1 Spitfires lead.
Well, Van Steensel, Wakely, Romani, that line has been very impressive so far in this first period as they've had a lot of good opportunities and they've kind of had the best scoring chances so far for the Battalion, already potting one. Romani almost tying the game up right after the Battalion took the lead, and they've looked very good. The one good news for the Battalion, though, is they tend not to play lately very good first periods. It's the last 20 that they've been a lot better at, so could be a sign here for in this game.
McDonald gets the puck out of the zone to Jackson, back to McDonald on the right wing over the blue line. He feeds it to Bloom coming down the boards. Bloom's pass to the middle is blocked, and now it's the Spitfires going the other way. Renwick plays it to Maggio coming over the blue line. He goes to the left side boards. Stopped, pushed over by McDonald, but the puck goes the wrong way for the Battalion big man. It's back into the North Bay zone. He finds it on the boards now, and it's McDonald skating east-west, and he gets out of the zone, feeds it up to Jackson down the left wing, but Jackson can't get a clean look into the zone. It's at the blue line. Christopoulos just keeps it in. His shot goes wide. Now it's Bloom on the near side boards. Bloom skates back to the blue line, turns, tries to feed Jackson. That got stopped, and now Maggio going the other way with Harrison. Maggio to the left side in the zone, takes a shot, and that's wide of the net. North Bay look to pick up the loose puck. They're down by a goal, 2-1. It's Jackson who has it down the left wing of the neutral zone. He feeds it over the blue line to Bloom. Bloom stops on the right side, feeds it to Jackson in the slot, takes a shot, and the Ottawa native fires it just high. It's in the far side boards now. Controlled over there, now down the line. The shot comes in wide of the net. Bouncing around the boards to the far side, picked up by Colton Smith. He's got the go-ahead goal at this point, and he sends it down the ice. It's Hislop who has it for North Bay. He sends it to the far side to Nelson. Nelson up the middle for Procession. Procession over to the near side to Hislop. Hislop back to the far side to Nelson, and they finally get it over the blue line. Nelson on the carry. The Battalion defenseman over the blue line. Guts it in the zone. His shot gets blocked. Tarasevich picks up the rebound. He flips it in behind the net to Procession. Back to the left side to Tarasevich. Tarasevich walking back to the blue line. Switches spots with Hislop, and he sends it back along the end boards. Looking to play it to the far side. Dow down to the point. That shot comes in. It's blocked into the far side corner. Millet's there for Windsor. He gets it to the near side boards. Cristofaro will clear it. Looking for Christopoulos. Knocked away from his stick. North Bay send it up to the blue line. Picked up by the Spitfires, and they send it back into the North Bay zone. Hislop sends it right back out of the zone, and that'll be offside as a nice effort by Rodwin Dionisio to try and save them from being offside, but no luck there against the officials. 3:42 to go. It's a 2-1 Windsor lead.
Well, obviously Windsor is the best team that the Battalion have faced in quite a long time, probably since the last time they played Barrie. And the biggest difference that you see with the Spitfires, the way that they enter the zone, they do it in such a quick way. They have that third forward who always comes in and helps out, and you see that zone entry is so good for the Windsor Spitfire, and that's something that I think the Battalion could do a little bit better job of, and Windsor's definitely winning in that department.
And they rarely go in unmatched. There's usually two, if not three of them going in as a unit. There's a centering chance to Pierre, and his shot is blocked by DiVincentis. And that could be a big one when we look back on this game. His 8th save of the game. Here comes Morneau down the right side. Play back to the middle, right on DiVincentis again, but he throws up the glove, and he blocks Pierre for the second time in about 20 seconds. Here comes Lucan now for the North Bay Battalion. down the left wing, up to the center ice line to Zito. Zito can't handle the pass and is back into the North Bay zone. Now Winslow will try. He sends it up to Petrov. It's knocked off his stick. Now Pierre goes in for Windsor. His pass to Maggio is sent in, and it's a save made by DiVincentis. Into the near side corner now. Harrison has it for Windsor. He goes to the far side boards. He's being held onto by Paul Christopoulos, and the arm will go up as the Battalion touch the puck. It's going to be holding against Christopoulos with 2:40 remaining in the period.
It's about as textbook as holding can get, as Christopoulos hooking his hand around the Windsor player. As that's about as, again, you're not going to see a much more textbook hold call there. So an easy call right in front of the referee. Again, we look at that. Zito almost making kind of a misplay before, as he doesn't pick up Pierre early on, who was in the slot, who had an absolute beautiful chance to save. And now we're going to get a chance at the number 1 ranked penalty kill to see what they can do here in the last 2:40 of this period.
And the Windsor Spitfires come in with a third-ranked power play, their first of this opportunity of this game. And off the draw, the Battalion send it down the ice. Spitfires looking to add to their 2-1 lead with the man advantage here. It's Harrison. Sends it over the blue line, gets it back, sends it to Christopoulos on the near side boards. He plays it back behind the net. Harrison is there, but it's knocked away from his stick and up to the line, kept in by Dionisio. He plays it to the left side, back to the middle, and that's knocked away by McDonald, and it's sent down the ice. The Battalion have killed off the first 30 seconds of the first power play opportunity for the Spitfires. Cristofaro has, check that Dionisio has the puck. He brings it forward, blocked by Bloom in the neutral zone. Bloom was trying to get on the loose puck, but it's knocked away by the Spitfires, and they'll try to send it to Christopoulos on the near side. Now to Dionisio on the left wing. Dionisio coming down through the neutral zone into the far side corner. Gets knocked off the puck by Tarasevic. And Tarasevic and Bloom going 2-on-1 the other way. But the pass over to Bloom is knocked away by the captain, Maggio. Now Maggio sends it down in the zone. There's a chance in the slot, and the shot goes wide of the net. Picked up on the near side boards by Tarasevic, and he clears the zone for North Bay. 40 seconds remaining on this Windsor power play with 1:15 to go in the period.
The Battalion doing a really bad job picking up that attacker coming into the high slot. As soon as that puck's going through their box, it seems like the Windsor is getting a free pass.
Sent into the North Bay zone. Millette can't hold it in the corner. It's sent around to the far side. Cristofaro keeps it in, plays it to the middle. Millette was there and just redirects it wide of the net. Into the corner, now back behind the net. That is Colton Smith. Smith scored his 15th goal of the season earlier in the game to make it 2-1, but he can't do anything with the puck there, and it's sent out of the zone. 3 seconds to go in the Christopoulos penalty. He's about to get back on the ice, and with 40 seconds to play in the period, we're back to 5-on-5. Pierre coming down the left wing side, sends it in the middle. The puck is bounced off a stick to the near side boards. Renwick takes a shot from there, and it's bounced into the near side boards again off that shot. Sent down the ice by North Bay, and there's a foot race to it, and icing will be called against the home side Battalion with 23 seconds remaining in the first. It's 2-1 for Windsor.
Not a bad first period for the Battalion. They're definitely a team I feel like recently especially, they've been off to kind of some cold starts, and they seem like it's easy for them to get kind of overwhelmed a little bit, and I think that it was a good job by Windsor to kind of go on the offensive a little, quite a bit in this first period, but I expect it to be a much stronger second period for the North Bay Battalion.
Face-off won by the Spitfires. They play it below the goal line. Nelson's there, and he knocks it off the glass and plays it out to the neutral zone. That is where Renwick has it. I check that DeAngelis, and he fires it in the zone. Puck bouncing around in the near side corner. Petrov's there. 4 seconds to go. He plays it to Nelson on the far side, and Nelson will just wind the time down. And at the end of 20 minutes, it's a 2-1 score for the Windsor Spitfires. They open the scoring. North Bay get one back thanks to Dalton Wakely. But then Colton Smith, with his 15th of the season, regains the lead for the Spitfires. Ben and Derek will break down all the action in the first period and get you caught up with what else is going on around the rest of the OHL when we return. You're watching the Average Show's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And we're back here in North Bay Memorial Gardens for the first intermission as the Windsor Spitfires lead the North Bay Battalion by a score of 2-1. Let's take a look at the scoring sheet for that first period, as it was Alex Christopoulos getting the Windsor Spitfires on the board at 4:27, his 27th of the season from Liam Greentree and Jacob Mallet. And then just 40 seconds later, Dallin Wakely tied things up for the Battalion at 5:17. That was his 20th of the season from Van Steensel and Romani. And then the go-ahead goal scored at the 10:55 mark. That was Colton Smith, 15th of the season from James Jodwin and Matthew Maggio. 2 penalties in that period, 1 per team. Nicholas DeAngelis went off for a hooking at 8:20 for the Spitfires, and then Paul Christopoulos went off for a holding at 17:20. Taking a look at these shots on goal in the first period, it was the Spitfires 13, the Battalion 11. Neither team was able to score on the power play. Both were 0 for 1 in that category. Taking a look on the OHL out-of-town scoreboard, 3 other games on this Thursday evening. In Hamilton, the Bulldogs are dead even with the Flint Firebirds, 1 apiece through 1 period of play. Through 20 minutes in Niagara, the Ice Dogs lead the Erie Otters by a score of 1-0. Late in the first period in Peterborough, the Petes have a 1-0 lead over the London Knights. Taking a look at the Canadian NHL teams in action tonight, just a pair, 3 teams in action. First off, the Montreal Canadiens, they're tied with the Detroit Red Wings. That is 1 apiece through 1 period of play. At 8 o'clock, the Winnipeg Jets host the Buffalo Sabres, and a 9 o'clock start as the Calgary Flames host the Chicago Blackhawks. That gets you up to date here around the OHL and the NHL Canadian teams. Earlier this week, actually yesterday, our very own Courtney Kenny was joined by Avery Winslow, and they got a chance to chat on the latest episode of the Frontline broadcast or podcast. Let's hear a little tidbit of that interview now.
Before we dive into this year, I mean, we've had you on a couple of times now, but I wanted to ask you, since we haven't had you on since the end, or since before the end of last year, you were here briefly towards the end of that last place finish team, the 1920 season. Compared to, and then what's it like, sitting out that whole entire year because of COVID? I mean, you did get some hockey into you, at least according to your elite prospects page, but you come up here and then you go from a last place team in the OHL to a top 4 finisher in the playoffs. What's that experience like?
It was honestly crazy. Like we kind of we knew we were kind of building that. When we brought in a couple guys and we were building around that, we expected it to happen, but when it was actual reality, it was kind of crazy. Like we had a lot of fun. Going last year, like the group of guys we had, we really took advantage of the time we had together, and I thought we had a great group of guys that really had a lot of fun together. Even off the ice too. We really had good connections, and it really helped us on the ice as well, I thought.
With the media side of things, the first two rounds are kind of normal, but then you get to the Eastern Conference Finals and even the OHL Finals, and it's different because from the media side of things, there's eyes on the media side, there's eyes on this team, but then you have to go, instead of just going up to head coach Ryan Houlihan after the game and talking to him, you have to go to a room and all this other stuff. From a player's side of things, is it a different beast when you reach that Final Four?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like at that time, like your guys are battling injuries, but you wouldn't even notice. Like guys are all business at that time. Like everyone's dialed in, everyone's focused on the task at hand. Like it's crazy how dialed in guys get at that time, but it's really impressive too.
For you yourself, going to your Tampa Bay Lightning camp and then playing hockey, that was a long season for you. How do you recover after such a long, almost calendar year of playing hockey?
I mean, you do your best. You take advantage of the time you get to recover. Taking advantage of the time to roll out or take that extra 5 minutes to stretch here and there. That stuff's huge, and it really pays off later on. So just trying to really take advantage of your time that you do get, and like I said, take advantage of that time.
Speaking of taking advantage of time, for somebody who's from Florida and stuff, how often do you get home in a calendar year playing up in North Bay?
Not too much. I get home for Christmas during the season, and then that's about it during the season. So I know Christmas break, I really try to take advantage of the time I get with my family. They're a big part of my life, so really just spend the entire time I'm home with them.
How often does your family get up here to watch you play?
During COVID, they didn't come up at all due to some vaccine stuff, but they've come up a lot this year. They just came up actually for the last week and a half. They were up, and then they're going to come up for the American road trip. So it'll be nice to see them a lot more. And then I think my brother and my sister might get up here too for playoffs, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever I'm waiting for Ryan Houlihan post game, there's always a lot of number 8 jerseys hanging out around there. So it's always good to see some support, even if it's not necessarily your family, but some support, right, when you're that far away from home.
Yeah, I like going out there and going to see everyone still support me, even if they're not family members. It's very nice. So, like I said, I love the people in the city. They're tremendous for us.
For you yourself, this is your overage season. What does that mean to you, knowing that this is your last go around in the OHL?
I mean, I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, obviously, to be playing on this team. I want to win a championship. I'm all in for that. And I think that's what we all have our eyes focused on here. So that's, at the end of the day, that's what I'm here to do.
For you, also yourself personally, last year and this year, you're wearing a letter on your jersey. How special is that to look down and see that every single night?
Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to me to be a leader on this team. We have a really good group of leaders, and I think we take a lot of pride in that. And we try to do a good job leading this team. So we just we hope it pays off and it shows to everyone else.
All right, I got a bit of a silly question for you here, just because anybody who's played, who's a Battalion fan who's played the new NHL game, obviously has seen your mugshot on the game, and your hair's a little bit wild. Did you know that was going to be what the lasting impression was from you on Tampa Bay Lightning camp when they took that picture?
No, I didn't, but all the boys loved that hair, so I didn't. I loved it too. I might bring it back for playoffs. You'll see. I'm starting to grow it out a little bit now, so we'll see what happens.
And that was Avery Winslow joining Courtney Kenny this week on the Frontline Podcast. You can catch the latest episode wherever you download your podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts. Or
You'll
you
get there eventually.
You can even find the whole episode on our YouTube channel, right where you're watching tonight's broadcast, as you're watching Ben and I doing
We'll write
this.
it down for you the next time. Don't worry.
Can you put it on your forehead?
Yeah.
Let's get to that first period. Alex Christopoulos making his return to North Bay, gets that opening goal. That's got to be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, for sure. And I guarantee you there was a little bit maybe of a bet going on between the two, who's going to win, who might get on the score sheet first. And if you look at the two goals that Windsor scored, they're pretty much identical. It's a winger crashing to the net and taking good feeds from the slot area on the other side and forcing DiVincentis to basically have to sprawl across to make a save. They're raising the puck, they're getting goals. One of the things, and we were talking about this right before we went on air, the biggest difference between this Windsor team and this North Bay team offensively right now is when you look at Windsor, when they crash, when they enter the zone, there's always three forwards there. And they're always there picking up the rebounds. They're always there looking for a pass. They don't always go to the lead guy. They'll go to the guy behind, whoever's not being picked up by the defenseman. The Battalion aren't doing that. There have been a lot of opportunities where if they had somebody crashing in or somebody on the weak side, they would have had a chance to pick up a great scoring opportunity. That's the biggest difference between Windsor and North Bay right now. And I think if you're Ryan Houlihan, obviously he's watching the same game as us. I wonder if that's something he picks up on going into the second period.
And both of those goals really developed in the defensive zone as they were turnovers right at the Spitfires blue line that created those odd man chances. And I just really liked the way that Christopoulos took that ice, backing up to make himself even more open for Greentree to find him with that backhand pass. Just unbelievable, that pass. And Christopoulos, no time on his stick. It's on the stick, off the stick, and it's in the back of the net. There's no chance for DiVincentis on that goal.
Yeah, and that's something if you're a Battalion defenseman, especially if you're a winger in the defensive zone, you need to understand that there's going to be a guy crashing that net. And again, that's something we haven't seen in their last games, and maybe they've grown complacent in the last 10 to 12 games where they played some weaker opponents. And this is something that top teams do. We're going to see it from London. You're going to see it from the Ottawa 67s. And I think they're going to have to change the defense up a little bit and catch that guy who's coming on the weak side and trying to crash the net.
Yeah, and that was really what happened on the second goal. It was a pass off the pad going right to Smith, who one time that rebound in. Both defensemen were really watching the puck carrier, watching where the puck was, and really didn't pick up that winger that was going to the far post. And the Spitfires are just too fast of a team and too good to let those mistakes happen. When you're down there at ice level, you can really see the difference between like a Windsor Spitfires team or that we've seen in the last week, such as Hamilton, Sudbury, where that puck movement is just so much crisper and the skating is so much stronger, just really exposing some of the weaknesses of the North Bay Battalion. Battalion are lucky to get out, only trailing by a goal, but what we've seen in the past is they've been able to make some transitions during the intermission, a little bit of changing to kind of compete in the second and third period.
Yeah, lately when they play a really good game and they come away with a victory, what you notice is the last half of the game, about halfway through the second period, they really kind of turn on the jets. They start scoring some goals. They start playing better defense. I think in the first period what's happening is they're trying to gauge their opponents. They're not used to the speed. We talk about the crispness in passing. We've seen that from the Battalion before, and this is what Windsor's doing. And when a team can pass that well, if you look at the Battalion passes, they're bumping off sticks, they're going off bodies, they're not getting those entries into the offensive zone like Windsor is right now, and that's kind of the biggest difference in this hockey game. Yes, DiVincentis has made a couple of great saves and kept this a 2-1 game. On the other side, though, the Battalion have had their own chances to get some goals, and I think it's going to be important. Again, Costanzo is a solid goaltender, but he's definitely beatable, and you've got to start putting a lot better quality shots on net, and you have to be willing to pick up those rebounds that he gives up.
Well, we're just moments away from the start of the second period. Matt Sucrum will rejoin yourself, Ben Sargent, for all of the hockey action here as it's the Spitfires leading the Battalion by a score 2-1. We'll be back with all your second period action here on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent. It is 2-1 for the Windsor Spitfires as we get set up for the second period. Coming up this week on the front line, we'll be heading down to Powassan to call the action as the Voodoos take on Hearst tomorrow at 7. And then in U18 AAA hockey action, Kapuskasing Flyers are in town for a pair of games. The Trappers will host them at Memorial Gardens at 7 p.m. on Saturday and at 2:30 on Sunday. Play is underway as the Spitfires start out with the puck, but they lose it going up to the North Bay blue line. That's where Hislop has it for the Battalion, but his clearing attempt is blocked as well. Bouncing puck goes to the near side. It's Nelson who picks it up there, and he dumps it down the ice, and that will be icing called. However, Tarasevich was ahead of everybody on that play, and that was a late call. That was a late icing call against the Battalion there.
Well, icing's a fickle thing, and sometimes it's called, sometimes it's not. And we see the Battalion a couple of times with set plays, utilizing their speed. And it'll be very interesting to see how they come out here at the start of this period and see how much Ryan Hulan's going to change his strategies up a bit, both offensively and defensively, to try to counteract the Windsor's first period.
Play behind the North Bay net, sent to the far side board. Zito has it, flipped around the near side. It's Hislop who picks it up. Hislop will play it back behind the net. Sends it down the left wing. Nelson flips it up to the Windsor blue line where it's blocked, and it's Colton Smith coming the other way. He goes to center it, and the shot by Harrison is wide of the net. Now a wraparound chance is denied as Nelson got down to block it. I mean, DiVincentis was all the way to the other side of the net, and Nelson had the other post covered to not allow that puck to go sliding past the goal line.
And so far in this first period, it's the passes that have been big in that first period. Windsor very crisp, North Bay not so much. So far, same story here so far in this second period.
And North Bay tried another pass up the middle. That one goes to nobody. It reaches the end boards, and icing will be called. 18:38 to go in period number 2. It is a 2-1 lead for the Windsor Spitfires.
And DiVincentis getting a little lucky on the wraparound attempt as Nelson was there to kind of stop the other side as he was a little late getting over, and it's tough when you can only, and from your perspective, you can only see in one way, but DiVincentis getting a little lucky. Could have been an early 3-1 lead for Windsor.
Christopoulos in the slot had the puck off the draw, but couldn't get the shot off, and now North Bay go the other way. McDonald over the blue line, plays it to the near side boards. It's Bloom at the point. He can't hold the puck there, and now Windsor goes the other way. 3-on-2 into the zone. The pass to the near side. Christopoulos cannot bury it past DiVincentis. North Bay send the puck down the ice. It's deflected into the Windsor zone. Played to the near side boards by the goaltender Costanzo, and now it's the Spitfires going back the other way again with the numbers in their advantage. The drop pass to Christopoulos is blocked, and the puck goes to the far side corner. It is McDonald there for North Bay trying to get the puck away. McDonald got his stick held onto by a player that didn't have a stick, and that player kicks the puck away from McDonald, but he inadvertently kicked it all the way down into the Windsor zone. Now it's Pierre who has the puck for the Spitfires. He brings it down the ice, back in to the attacking zone. It's Christopoulos playing it to the near side boards. Is knocked away from Christopoulos, but Dionisio has the puck, centers it to the slot, and the save is made by DiVincentis, throwing the arm up and deflecting that one away. Sent down the ice, Romani has it, drops it to Wakely, and he can't bury it. Big save by Costanzo. Now Wakely gets it the side, drags it to the slot, but then can't get the shot off. Wakely gets the puck back, sends it behind the net. Van Cecil puts it in front. It's deflected off his skate, redirected to Costanzo, but he holds his ground and makes sure the puck doesn't go past him. 17-14 to play in the second period. It's 2-1 Spitfires.
Well, it's his third line. It's Van Steezel, Wakely, and Romani. And again, what a good... They had the first goal, which was Dalen Wakely, and then almost a second goal from Romani, and now almost a third goal. What a beautiful passing play there. I believe it was Romani back to Wakely, who had an absolute glorious chance. And those are the kind of passes that this team needs to make. And so far, the only line that's really been that impressive has been that third line. Every other line is just out of sync just a little bit to start off this game, as they'll send out their fourth line of Procession, Tarian, and Bouchard, who gets another start in that fourth line, his second straight game.
Battalion win the draw. That's Tarian winning that draw. Sends it around to the far side boards. Nelson chips it back to the middle, but knocked away from that area by the Spitfires, and they carry it out all the way into the attacking zone. Now they lose the puck at the blue line. They get it right back, and the shot comes in, and this off a stick over the glass and out of play. And man, those turnovers, the Spitfires seem to be all over them. And even when the Spitfires make the initial turnover, they seem to be finding the loose puck faster than the Battalion are.
And one of the things, and I'll give credit to where credit's due, Derek mentioned this in the to me off air, but one of the things that they've done really well, that Mark Savard has done really well, is manage his lines. When that fourth line for the Battalion is out, you'll see Greentree, Malley, and Christopoulos out a lot. So great job, kind of Mark Savard being the number one coach right now in terms of lines.
North Bay get the puck out to the neutral zone. Bounced around, Nelson has it, played to the left side, the shot coming in, and it's wide of the net. Ricocheted off the boards, and it's Colton Smith going the other way. 1-on-2, Zito on the back check, takes Colton Smith out of the play, and they go colliding into the near side corner. But now it's Maggio who takes over the puck. His pass goes to the far side boards. It's picked up by Jodwin on the far side. He sends it into the corner, and then the pass comes back to Jodwin. That's blocked by North Bay, and they send it down the ice. Chasing it into the Spitfire zone is DeAngelis. He holds it behind the net. DeAngelis now sends it all the way down the ice. It's deflected by Colton Smith in the neutral zone and picked up behind the net by Hislop. He sends it to Christopoulos, who drops it down the right wing side for McDonald. McDonald tried to get it up to Jackson, but that goes past him. And another icing coming up against the North Bay Battalion. That's got to be the third or fourth already, with 15:55 still to go in the second period. 2-1 Windsor lead.
Yeah, Windsor's playing a very good neutral zone defense. They're not allowing the Battalion to make these kind of stretch patches that they've been used to making against weaker defensive teams. And it's right now the Battalion seem like that's the one thing that they keep trying to force the issue. They're going to have to start carrying the puck up the ice more, get into transition with multiple people, start passing the puck a little bit more. They can't take the same offensive approach that they've been playing in their last few games. They've got to try something new against a much better team.
North Bay win the draw. McDonald gets taken out of the play in the neutral zone, and there's no call coming there. You got to think he was looking for an interference call, but here come the Spitfires back down the other way. Going to the right side of the North Bay zone. The pass across is knocked away by Winslow, and Winslow will carry it behind his net, switches spots with Christopoulos. He looks down his left wing side, gets it out to the neutral zone. But again, just a lackadaisical pass that gets picked off by the Spitfires. North Bay regain the puck now as they have it in their own zone. Winslow sends it through the neutral zone. That is blocked by by Jodwin. Now it's played to the right side boards as Christopoulos has it for the Spitfires. Jackson picks his pocket, and Jackson will skate out of the zone with it. He gets over the blue line, finds Winslow. Winslow puts it on net. That goes wide. Picked up on the boards by McDonald. Tries to feed it to the point. Now it's knocked off his skate. McDonald gets it back, goes towards the front of the net, and a shot goes off the shoulder of Costanzo. Now behind the net, it's Jackson looking for the puck. Dionisio takes it away from him, and he will skate it up to the Windsor blue line, up to the center ice line, over the North Bay blue line. Now it's knocked away from him, and North Bay have numbers going the other way. Wakely over the blue line, and Romani goes ahead of him. but no call there. The puck stays alive in the zone. Now Lucan down the right wing side, drives in, and his shot goes off the chin of the goaltender Costanzo. North Bay get the puck back, and they send it to the point. Now it's whipped around the near side boards. Still in that area. Couple of guys involved. Now comes out of the zone, and he'll go down the ice. Lucan sends it right back up ahead to Romani, now to Wakely. Drops it back to Romani, to the left side to Van Steensel. Van Steensel centers it to Wakely, but he can't get a shot off. He got tied up. Wakely gets the puck back. Stays on the half boards on the far side. Tries to play towards the goal. That is picked off by the Spitfires and sent out of the zone. Windsor carries it in, sending the pass into the far side corner. That is where Granero has it. He gets knocked down behind the net, and North Bay get the puck out of the zone. In the neutral zone, Harrison has it for the Spitfires, but they're going to call a hand pass against them. And with 13:38 to go, the Battalion starting to put the pressure on. They trail by a goal, but again, it's that Wakely, Romani, Van Steensel line that's making most of the work.
Yeah, it seems like all the other lines aren't really forcing the issue. They're not really putting a lot of offensive pressure. You see one, maybe two guys going on the rush, and that third winger kind of hanging back. And right now, the other thing, too, is Windsor's doing a really good job, and we saw Sudbury do this as well, of keeping the Battalion out of the center part of the ice and the defensive zone, and so far, Windsor really doing a good job on that end.
Puck sent into the North Bay end. Hislop has it behind the net. Plays it to the far side boards. It's knocked away. The Spitfires gain control. They try to get a shot off. That gets blocked. Puck down to the blue line. DeAngelis gets called for the hand pass as he tried to feed it up the boards, and it's touched by Colton Smith. 13:15 to go in the second period. 2-1 lead.
Well, Pasquale Zito has had a kind of interesting defensive night. There have been a couple of times where he's had to play the defenseman as Nelson goes up on the rush or who else goes up to rush, and he's kind of had a bit of a struggle there. And then in that last play in the offensive zone, had the puck and just got it stripped to give Windsor a pretty good scoring opportunity. So he's going to have to look to clean that one up as this game goes along.
North Bay win the draw, but they send it down the ice for an icing call. 13:10 to go in the second period.
Yeah, Windsor just not giving them anything in that neutral zone, and you kind of think like they're just kind of banging their head against the wall, trying to wait for it, kind of forcing the issue here. And what they really need to do is change their approach up a little bit. 7 minutes gone by, nothing's really changed in the first period. Yes, they've had some great scoring opportunities, but I think if you look at it, the Battalion have to figure out how they can get some offense sparked and how to get through this neutral zone defense.
Maggio off the draw, a shot towards Vincentis goes wide. Picked up by Colton Smith in the corner, sends it to Harrison, and his shot is blocked. Harrison was wide open, right on the hash marks, but now North Bay go the other way. They've got control. Tarasevic has it in the slot, the shot, and it's blocked by the goaltender Costanzo.
Well, if we want to use a basketball reference here, we talk about boxing out in basketball, not allowing rebounds, and that's kind of what Windsor's doing right now in the defensive zone. They're not allowing, number one, the Battalion aren't doing a good job of getting into the crease area. If we look at the one goal they scored this game, that's what happened. They got into the crease area, they looked for those rebounds, and they put it by Costanzo. If you look at so far, every time there's a shot on Costanzo, nobody's there picking up rebounds, nobody's there crashing the net, and the Windsor Spitfires are just boxing them out. They're not allowing them to get in there, but the Battalion don't have that fire in them, and that's might be a difference maker in this game so far.
And off the draw, the Spitfires get it, but they can't clear. Procession kept it in at the blue line. Poke check made, and now it's cleared out of the zone. Dionisio coming down the left wing side. Pass across the zone to Spellici. Spellici tried to get a shot off. That got blocked. North Bay looking at the loose puck, and they get it. It's Winslow coming down the right wing side. Sends it up ahead to Terrien. Terrien tried to feed it to the middle, but that got stopped by Dionisio, and Dionisio will send it down the ice. It's off the half boards in the neutral zone. It's picked up by the Spitfires. They send it in, but the shot goes wide. It's Spellici on that shot. It was just a harmless looking dump out by the Spitfires, but a great visitor town bounce off the half boards and right to the stick of Spellici, who had just a little bit of lead on the last defender on the back check. The Spitfires bring it right back in. Peer sends it in towards the corner. Christopoulos is there. That's Alex Christopoulos for the Spitfires. He had the opening goal, his 27th of the season. Now he plays it in behind the net to Morneau. Morneau battling back there for Windsor, but the Battalion just outnumber him and get the puck out to the neutral zone. It's picked up there by McDonald. McDonald sends it to the left side to Bloom. Bloom enters the zone. Bloom sends it to the point. Paul Christopoulos' shot goes in. Save made, rebound to the left side, and Bloom is there to put it in. It's all about the Bloom as Josh ties up this game at 2.
Well, 10 games, finally gets a goal. You know that's been on his mind for the last 10 games, at least the last 5 or 6 games, and he finally breaks through. And what did we talk about at the beginning of this game? We talked about how he's struggled. He has 6 points in 10 games, 3 of those points in 1 game. He's been kept off the score sheet night after night after night. This all starts with a Christopoulos shot. And you know why the Battalion score there? Because they crash the net. They pick up the rebounds. I thought Bloom might have waited 1 second too long, but he still had enough to get it by Costanzo. And that is what it's all about. It's all about crashing the net, taking those rebounds, and the Battalion do it, and that's the second time they've been rewarded for that kind of play.
He had a 4-game goal streak in which he scored 6 goals. He had 8 goals in a 6-game span, and that was the last bunch of goals that he scored. And now North Bay looking for more as they send it in, but Costanzo makes a save. Yeah, he had one heck of a streak going, and then the brakes just got pushed, and he really halted to a skid there. He only had 6 points in the ensuing 10 games.
Yeah. And it was one of those things, and it's not just Bloom, it was Jackson and Earl. 5-on-5, they weren't producing any goals. Jackson, a lot of his points were either coming when McDonald was with him, and McDonald just scored, it seemed, every time he was on that line, or it was happening because of the power play. And that was kind of a big reason why Jackson was getting a lot of points happening. But at the end of the day, Bloom's got to be very happy, and it's a 2-2 game. And regardless of how the Battalion played so far, you've got to be happy with a 2-2 tie at this point halfway through this game.
His first goal since a 2-goal game on December 28th against the Sudbury Wolves. So the North Bay Battalion have tied it up. And now they're looking to see if they can take their first lead of the night. They dump it into the Windsor zone. It's behind the net, now cleared down the ice. And there is a battle there between Maggio and Nelson on the half boards. They come away from that area, send it to the point. DeAngelis shot wide. Comes back in towards the net. That one's turned aside by DiVincentis. On the half boards, Windsor controls. They try a pass to the line. It's away from the stick of DeAngelis, and he has to chase it all the way into the Windsor zone. 10:15 to play in the second period. All knotted at 2 as it's sent into the North Bay zone. The puck goes to the far side boards. Castle picks it up for Windsor. He tries to play it to the middle to Smith. Smith couldn't control the puck, but now he does get it back. And now Jackson is hacked at the shins, and there's no call coming there. Jackson had control of the puck, was completely hacked, fell down, it didn't get a call, and now as the puck goes into the Windsor zone, McDonald is basically tackled to the ice, and there's no call there. Both teams have had one power play so far, and both of those have come in the first period. And now it's sent up ahead to Tarasevich into the attacking zone. Pass across the left side, but Petrov could not control the puck. Bounces off his stick, and it's off the end boards and back out to the neutral zone where it's brought in by Castle, but he goes offside. 9:24 to go, halfway through the second. It's 2-2 here on the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Derek, how have things shifted down there now that the Battalion have evened things up with the Spitfires at 2-2?
Battalion starting to believe that they can skate with this team. They've made a few adjustments on the back end as they have Hislop and Paul Christopoulos now as a duo, and it's Avery Winslow with Ty Nelson as the other pairing. So a little bit of change up in the defensive zone, but the Battalion really starting to believe, and that was a very important goal for Josh Bloom. He hasn't scored since December 28th, and is really putting on a show as he needs to get him started there, Matt.
Yeah, big goal for Josh Bloom. Big goal for the Battalion here. It's 2-2. And now halfway through the second period. Zito has the puck for the Battalion in the neutral zone. He turns back to his own blue line. Now he brings it forward again. Out to Petrov. Now to Tarasevic. Back up to Petrov in the corner. Plays it around behind the net. Goes to the far side. Plays it to center. Tarasevic had a chance, but very quickly the Ice Dogs, the Spitfires collapse in on the area and don't give Tarasevic a chance to get the shot off, and they dump it all the way down the ice. Play back into the Windsor zone. Sent across to the far side. Van Steensel's there. His shot goes through the slot. Off the boards to the point. Christopoulos is there. His shot goes in, but it's a glove save made by the goaltender Costanzo, and he holds on to it for stoppage in play.
Well, I think one of the things that Derek said, that's something that I've noticed really well, is a much better defensive period for the Battalion. They are playing very well in front of DiVincentis so far. They've really stopped a lot of high-quality chances. They're mucking up the middle of the ice a lot more than they did in that first period. But I think offensively, they're starting to get their wheels turning a little bit. They're starting to crash the net a lot more. But I think we expect that to get a little bit better as the game goes along.
Face-off won by North Bay. They play it to the far side boards in the Windsor zone, but Maggio's there first and takes over. He sends it around to the corner to Cristofaro, and he gets it out of the zone. In the neutral zone, North Bay have control. It's dumped in. On the near side boards, Romani finds it, skates towards the net, goes behind the net, plays it in front, and that one's blocked. Now it's picked up back there by Jacob Holmes of the Spitfires. He gets it down the neutral zone, and now it's up ahead to Smith. Going in, Smith on the left wing, plays it in front of the net, but the puck bounces past the net. Off the far side boards, shot comes back in, it's deflected high. Played down at the blue line and cleared out of the zone. Cristofaro has it for Windsor in the neutral zone. He sends it across to the far side, and it's dumped in. DiVincentis plays it behind the net. Picked up there now by Winslow. Winslow clears it up ahead to Van Steenzel, carries it down through the neutral zone. On the left wing, he gets into the attacking zone and plays it in the corner. Wakely looking for control of the puck there, but he gets tied up, and the puck gets sent out of the zone. Now it's Bloom in the neutral zone. Plays it across to the far side, to the near side to Kennedy. Kennedy comes in on the right wing. Kennedy knocked off the puck, and DeAngelis takes over. Sends it down the left wing for Maggio, coming in 2-on-1. Maggio to the right side. Shot save made by DiVincentis. Big time pad save, and now it's the other way. Josh Bloom looking for more. Shot save made, and the rebound deflected high. Costanzo now gets it back in front of the net, and he holds on to it for the glove save.
Well, we talk about it again about crashing in the offensive zone, and that's what Windsor does yet again. It's tough to defend against that stuff, and DiVincentis is a great play. But Wyatt Kennedy, an amazing job to get back there and pick up, again, no Windsor Spitfire there, but he picks up that rebound right away. That could have been a very dangerous play. And then he starts a play that starts with Josh Bloom, and sometimes all it takes is one goal to open up the dam, and that's what Josh Bloom's hoping. If Josh Bloom can get going like he got in November, December, this is going to be a dangerous team, becoming even more dangerous offensively.
14th goal as a member of the Battalion, now with 31 points in his 27 games here in North Bay for the Buffalo Sabres draft pick. Battalion win the draw. Across the near side, Kennedy sends it in behind the net. That's Kyle McDonald there. Kyle McDonald on the near side blue line. Sends it around the end boards. Jackson's there. Now leaves it for Bloom. Bloom looking towards the blue line. Now he turns back, sends it behind the net for Jackson. Jackson serves to McDonald, and he scores! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, loving it! The big back gives the Battalion a 3-2 lead.
Well, who else is there but Jackson and Bloom, and that's that top line that struggled to score 5-on-5, now has 2 goals in this game. McDonald continues his 7th goal in the last 6 games. What a play, and he plays so well on this top line because Jackson and Bloom are great playmakers. Number 1, what a great pass, but number 2, what a shot from Jackson. Somehow he finds daylight through Costanza and the post. I don't know how that went in, but sometimes that's a goal scorer's goal at times where he's able to find that goal, and now all of a sudden you go into this play. Windsor's played very well, but you look at it now, it's a 3-2 Battalion lead, and Windsor's not gotten a lot going offensively this period.
Their first lead of the night. Kyle McDonald with his 18th goal of the season in just his 21st game. And that puck off the draw is stopped by DiVincentis, so offensive zone faceoff coming up for Windsor. But for Kyle McDonald, I mean, there's got to be an NHL team that's got a contract with his name printed on it. They're just waiting to see if they can get him to sign it.
Well, if you look at Kyle McDonald, that's really interesting is that he did go to Ottawa, obviously, as we know. He played a little bit with he had an AHL stint, but yeah, in his overage season, and he missed 18 games. And if you look at his season stats, it doesn't even seem like he missed any time at all. He is such a solid, he's a goal scorer through and through, and man, what a shot that kid has.
6:20 to play in the second period. 3-2 lead now for the North Bay Battalion. That is their first lead of the night, and it could be a big one with 6:10 remaining in this period, as they are 22-1-1 when they lead after 2 periods. But here comes Castle for the Spitfires, sends it in towards Morneau. It's past his stick and sent to the corner, and the Spitfires get it back off the corner. They have it on the side. Now they send it to the middle, and the shot gets blocked. Dionisio was having an impressive game. I don't remember him being all over the puck like this when he was in a Niagara uniform. Here come the Battalion now. Petrov sends it in front to Zito, and his backhand just goes high. Right in all alone. Now he centers it, and that was stopped. Christopoulos pitches in, can't get it. Nelson at the line just keeps it in. Sends it around to the near side. That is Tarasevic. Tarasevic in the corner. Tries to send it in. It's off his stick. It goes to the far side. That's Wakely there. Wakely sends it wide of the net. Picked up there by Van Steensel. And then on the poke check, it's knocked off his stick, up and over the glass, and out of play with 5:18 to go in the second period, 3-2 North Bay.
Well, this is a team that is a second half of the game kind of team.
Yeah.
Look at the difference in the last 5 minutes than they played in the first 30 minutes of this hockey game, and they've done this time and time and time again. They struggle in the first period. They kind of struggle in the first half of the second period. Then they turn on the Jets, and the tide turns. We talk about how good they are when they have a lead after 3 periods, and outside of that game when they took the lead in the third and lost it to Hamilton, they've been really solid at holding leads. And really, Windsor, they've had a couple of opportunities, but not a lot.
There's a shot that goes just wide. The rebound chance goes off the side of the net, and then a third chance comes bouncing in front, but it goes off the shoulder of the goaltender Costanzo, and now it's played behind the net. Picked up there by the Spitfires. Long clearing pass is blocked by Winslow, and he fires it back into the Spitfire zone. Sent around to the near side boards. Harrison is there for Windsor. He gets it up to Pierre, and Pierre skates down the ice over the blue line, drops it to Maggio on the right side. Maggio to the middle to Harrison. Harrison turns back at the half boards, sends it to the left side, now to the middle, and a great defensive play by Nelson to block that pass. It's out to the neutral zone. Skating in up to it is Van Steensel. He's got it right in front of the North Bay bench, and he dumps it in to get some fresh legs out there. Windsor takes over control of the puck in the Windsor zone. DeAngelis skates out of the zone with it, then gets knocked off the puck on the half boards. North Bay take over control. McDonald coming in on the right side. McDonald winds up, fires, but is blocked by Renwick. It goes to the half boards. Luke in there, plays it behind the net to Bloom. Bloom skates into the circle. Bloom sends it across the zone. Lucan's there wide open. Sends it to Jackson in the middle. His shot deflected to the near side boards. Picked up there by Lucan. Holding it in the corner. Lucan sends it to Kennedy. Shot comes in. Stopped. Bloom with a chance, but the rebound was into his skates. And as he tried to control it, gets taken away by Renwick and sent out of the zone. It's deflected off the stick of Lucan into the bench. 3:50 to play. 3-2 North Bay lead.
And Matt, one of the biggest differences right now is the way the Battalion are passing the puck. They're finding sticks. They're crisp, sharp passes. And the biggest difference between having a guy like Costanza in net versus a guy like DiVincentis in net is the Battalion have a lot of trust that he's going to save pretty much every shot that's going to come his way for the most part if you give him the big part of the net, right? So it's going to be interesting as we go into the rest of this game to see if the goaltending is going to be a huge difference like it is on paper.
Absolutely. And remember, we talked about it possibly being a high-scoring game. 5 goals through the first 2 periods. And these are 2 high-octane offenses who put up a lot of goals. Windsor put up a lot of goals last weekend. The North Bay Battalion, 3 against Hamilton, 4 against Mississauga, and 2 against Sudbury in their last 3 games. North Bay bring the puck down Windsor bring the puck into the North Bay zone. Christopoulos gets tied up with Greentree, and Greentree falls down, and that's going to be a call against Paul Christopoulos. But now Alex Christopoulos is tied up behind the net with, I'm not sure because the officials are trying to break up that pairing. Paul Christopoulos has got Greentree in a bit of a hug on the near side, and now a couple other guys are joining in where Alex Christopoulos is, and well, you got to think the Christopoulos parents have got to be in the building for this game, and they're They're probably glad that it wasn't the Christopoulos brothers who dropped the gloves against each other there, but...
Yeah, and that was kind of an interesting trip call because it looked like he got a lot of the stick. It looked like he played most of the stick, but still, with the Windsor player going down, they still have enough to call it a trip there. Usually, when you're playing full the stick and it ends up getting into the skates and stuff like that, generally it's a safe play, but... Yeah, maybe Alex Christopoulos, almost forgetting who he plays for a bit. It almost looked like he came to his brother's defense a little bit.
That's it.
Almost. But we're going to see, again, a very good power play versus a very good penalty kill. And so far, Windsor 0 for 1. So we'll see if anything moves as they try to tie things in the last part of the second period.
So, right off the draw, it's sent down into the Spitfires end. Yeah, that reminds me of the incident where Penguins and Senators were playing last weekend. And the two brothers, Pierre-Olivier Joseph and Matthew Joseph, got into a high sticking against each other. They committed a high sticking and a roughing against each other. Dionisio with the puck at the line, sends it in, and that one shot wide of the net.
Sure
Ricocheted off the glass and sent down the ice.
That's going to probably be an interesting family reunion
well,
when they get back together.
Their parents were in attendance, and they had the camera shot on them, and they were both shrugging their shoulders like, come on, guys,
I'm sure
really?
they're used to that, though.
Yeah. Sibling rivalry at its best. Here comes Harrison. Down the middle, through the defense, to the right side. The shot is stopped by DiVincentis as he makes a huge save on his former teammate Alex Christopoulos. What a big-time play by DiVincentis. The net is completely knocked off its moorings. The shot comes in from the slot, and the officials finally blow the play down. Boy, there has been a lot of weird net plays in the last 2 weeks here
all
at Memorial Gardens. That's it.
Yeah, but man, DiVincentis, it was hard to see exactly if he got a glove on that or not as they're showing the replay here. But man, that might be one that might end up being the save of the week. That was really nice going east to west. I thought that was going to be a goal for sure as soon as you saw that pass, that puck go across the middle of the ice to a wide open Christopoulos. And what a save from DiVincentis. And again, we talk about goaltending, and that's always going to be a big key. When we get to the playoffs, goaltending, and you see this in the NHL all the time, it's even some teams who are not that good end up getting carried by goaltenders
Yep.
who get on hot streaks. You look at the Jordan Benningtons of the world.
That's right.
Way back in the day when Jaroslav Halak carried the Canadians through a couple of periods.
Who was
Price.
it that played for the Blackhawks? Crawford?
Crawford, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big thing. And DiVincentis is that guy who can really carry the puck. And it looks like the Battalion...
I think they're being allowed to make their line change here.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they didn't deem it as a intentional knocking off of the net. But Windsor putting some really good pressure, and they're trying to tie this game. And we know how good the Battalion are at holding leads, and this is the kind of game that there are 2 points between these two teams, and that could be a big thing if these two meet in the OHL final.
The Spitfires win the draw. They try to play it to the point to Cristofaro, jumps over his stick, and he has to chase it through the neutral zone, and now he's being pressured by Zito all the way in his own end. Zito with a couple of stick checks on him, but he finally gets away from Zito and plays it up to Renwick. Renwick drops it back to the blue line, and now they carry forward, but right at the North Bay blue line, it's sent all the way down the ice. 15 seconds to go in the penalty to Paul Christopoulos. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining in the second period. Van Steensel steals the puck in the offensive zone. The extra shot, and the glove save is made by Costanzo. Boy, the Spitfires basically just gave him the puck there. And again, they're on the power play. Well, now they're not on the power play as Christopoulos is back out onto the ice. And there's a turnover at the North Bay blue line. Hislop brings it down, sends it over to McDonald. McDonald with the shot on net, and Costanzo makes the glove save. 1:05 to go in the second period. North Bay ahead 3-2.
I think that's a good shot by McDonald there, as it's kind of a give-me shot for Costanzo, but what it does is it allows an offensive opportunity to get them the right lines out there at the right time. And I think that's kind of an underrated shot from McDonald, but the Battalion is interesting. If they continue the way that they're playing today, it'll be 6 more games until they play the Barrie Colts, which will be their next top 3 team that they face off against. If they continue playing this well for the next 21 minutes, you would love to see them take this into their next few games against Niagara and Oshawa and continue to play the same style of hockey they're playing today.
In the neutral zone, it's Greentree with it. He gives it to Harrison, and they go offside into the North Bay zone. So 54 seconds remaining in the second period, and North Bay maintaining this 3-2 lead. And again, want to point out this week's episode of the Frontline broadcast, the Frontline podcast, features Avery Winslow. You can download that episode wherever you get your favorite podcast, or watch the episode right here on the Frontline Game Day broadcast YouTube channel. Windsor win the draw. They send it on net, and it's just wide blocker side. Picked up in the corner. Now it's McDonald on the half boards. Can't get it out of the zone. Stopped at the line. That is Holmes. He sends it to the left side half boards. Maggio sends it to the middle. That one's blocked by McDonald again. McDonald and Maggio battle on the near side boards, and it's just pushed out over the blue line. 30 seconds to go as the captain Maggio looks for some clearance in the neutral zone. He gets around a couple of players, carries it in, drops it back to Greentree. Greentree sends it back to Maggio, right on the doorstep. He's digging away at it, and DiVincentis finally smothers it to make the stoppage, but a lot of crashing right in the crease area before the North Bay defense bailed out DiVincentis.
Well, the Battalion have to be very happy with how they played this game. Yes, DiVincentis had to make a great stop on Christopoulos. He's had to be sharp in this period, but for the most part, most of the saves have been saves that, as a goaltender of his caliber, he should make, and he's been making them. The big thing is the Battalion have shut down Maggio. That's his best opportunity of the game. Brett Harrison, they've shut him down. They've shut down the top goal scorers outside of Christopoulos, who's the third top goal scorer for the Windsor Spitfires. They've shut them down in this game, and that is so crucial to keep those guys off the scoreboard.
Face-off won by the Battalion. They're looking to get it out of the zone, and Office Gate is collected by Romani. He heads all the way down the ice on the backhanded shot stop. Rebound chance right in the middle, and Costanzo has to make a glove save on it. And now some pushing and shoving going on in front of the Windsor net, and you knew this was probably going to happen. Mostly because Windsor kept crashing the crease in the North Bay end. Now North Bay get a little close to Costanzo, and the Spitfires take exception to it.
Yeah, and it's Josh Bloom right in the middle, and it feels like Bloom, after scoring that goal, has a little bit more in his step here. He seems a little bit more into the play. He seems he's having a little bit much more fun. He has a little bit more intensity to it, and I think that goal is going to be a big thing, not just for this game, but I think for the future few games, as Bloom is now on that third line here with Wakely. And I believe that's
Romani out there. Off the draw, they send it to the middle. Nelson takes a shot, stop, goes into the corner, and that is the end of the second period. So the Battalion take the lead. Goals by Josh Bloom, his 22nd of the season, and Kyle McDonald, his 18th of the year, put the Battalion into the lead for the first time tonight. They're ahead 3-2 after 40 minutes of play. Derek and Ben will break everything down here in the second intermission. You're watching the Average Joe's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And we're back inside North Bay Memorial Gardens, where the Battalion respond in the second period with 2 unanswered goals to take a 3-2 lead into the second period break. Let's take a look at the scoring summary in the second period. Josh Bloom got the troops on even ground with his 22nd of the season at 8:38. Jackson and Christopoulos with the assist on the Bloom goal. And then Kyle McDonald put the Battalion up by a score of 3-2, his 18th of the season at 13-17 from Kyle Jackson and Josh Bloom. Only one penalty in that second period. That was Paul Christopoulos going off for tripping at 16:44. Shots on goal in this game in the second period. The Windsor Spitfires 8 shots for a game total of 21. North Bay Battalion 16 in that second period for a total of 27. Neither team has been able to capitalize on the man advantage, as the Spitfires are 0 for 2 and the Battalion were 0 for 1 in that category. Taking a look at the out-of-town scoreboard tonight in the OHL. 3 other games going on in the league, as in Hamilton, the Flint Firebirds respond with 4 goals in the second period to take a 4-1 lead over the Bulldogs. In Niagara, they extend their lead over the Erie Otters by a score of 2-0. And the other game sees the Peterborough Petes hosting the London Knights, and it's the Petes with a 1-0 lead in that game. Taking a look in the NHL tonight, as there's a few Canadian teams in action. Currently, the Detroit Red Wings are in Montreal, and the Canadians are tied at 3 apiece through 2 periods of play. Elsewhere in Canadian hockey tonight, the Winnipeg Jets are scoreless with the Buffalo Sabres through 1 period of play. And a 9 o'clock start in Calgary as the Flames host the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, Ben, quite a different second period than we saw in the first. Battalion seemed to find their legs and really made some adjustments in the defensive zone.
Yeah, and guess when it happened? It happened halfway through the period, like we've seen time and time and time again, where as soon as that 10-minute mark of that second period happens, the Battalion are like, oh, I guess we should start playing hockey now. And what a difference, though, it made. Again, early on in that period, passes weren't crisp. They did play a bit better defensively, but it was really that offensive pressure. As soon as Bloom scored that goal, you could see them crashing the net more. You saw them, their passes were crisper. They were moving the puck between the slots. They were going east to west. They played a much better offensive game. And defensively, when pucks were getting into that middle of the ice, they stopped it. They weren't allowing transition plays. DiVincentis only had to make maybe 1 or 2 really good saves, but when you have a goalie that good, you kind of expect those saves to kind of happen. And obviously the big one being Christopoulos, robbing him on the doorstep on that power play.
Yeah, a couple big saves there by Dom DiVincentis in the end of that second period to keep the Battalion with that 1-goal lead. But I really think the big difference was the neutral zone. The Battalion weren't allowing the Windsor Spitfires really to get through the neutral zone with any speed and really get any easy entries into the offensive zone. Meanwhile, it was complete opposite from the North Bay Battalion. They dominated the offensive zone and really controlled the puck.
Yeah, and they're a much better team when they are doing that, when they have their opponents on their heels. We saw that in Sudbury, right? If you look at that first period, they were making mistakes in their own defensive zone. Sudbury was pressuring them with the forecheck, and then as soon as that second period started, it was kind of the opposite. They pressured them offensively. Sudbury couldn't get anything going. It's all their offense powers their defense in a way, because they force their opponents to stay back in their defensive zone. They let their, instead of there being odd man rushes, what we saw was them trying to make breakout passes with maybe one, maybe another trailer with them. And there was a much different defensive game, and that all comes from their good offensive start. They were much more aggressive in the second half of that period. If they keep playing the way they did there, it should be a pretty, not an easy way, but it should be a very good chance for them to come away with a victory here this evening.
One of those players that we called out pregame was Josh Bloom. A goal and assist in that second period. We talked about how he hasn't scored since December 28th against the Sudbury Wolves. How important is that goal for Bloom?
It was huge. So if you look at that kind of goal, it was a play where it was just a great pass. He's there on the weak side picking up that play, and I thought he might have taken a second too long when he was holding onto that puck, but he still ended up finding the back of the net. So it kind of all worked out. And you know that was a big sigh of relief. And when you looked at like Jackson, McDonald, we're all kind of there congratulating him as well, as you know that it was kind of like you kind of feed off feed off your other players, right? So everybody was must have been happy for him. And if you notice in the next shifts, he played a much better game. He seemed much more confident, a little bit more laid back. He wasn't trying to force stuff. He was getting into the play more. He ended up getting an assist on that McDonald goal on a couple of really nice passes. And Bloom is looking like a much better play. He's getting in more physically, and I think that goal is going to be the thing that breaks the dam open and gets him back to that November, December-esque Josh Bloom that we know the player he can be.
Yeah, Josh Bloom seems to score in bunches, and let's hope he can do that now. A couple other players that we've watched tonight that were our Mike the Financial Advisor's player to watch. Let's see how they're doing currently.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike the Financial Advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike the FA.
Alex Christopoulos for the Windsor Spitfires. He had that opening goal tonight for the Spitfires. 3 shots on goal and 1 for 1 in the face-off dot. And for the North Bay Battalion, his twin brother, Paul Christopoulos, the defender, 1 assist in the game. He is a +1, 2 shots on goal, 4 penalty minutes. It seems like the 2 times I came back up here in the elevator, he finds a way to get into the penalty box. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the third period to get back up here, but
get in shape there.
But just talk about what this means really for the twin brothers to get this. This is the second opportunity they had to play against each other, and it's the return for Alex in this building.
I think it's interesting. They're guys that generally when you grow up, you're playing with them all the time. You're always on the same teams. They're not on the same team anymore. They're in different cities. They're not even, they're not seeing each other often as much. So I think it's really nice that both of them got a point. Alex doing what he does the best, which is scoring goals, and Paul doing what he does really great, which is creating plays, creating opportunities, and that we've seen him getting his 16th point of the season. So I think they both played very well. Obviously, Christopoulos getting a couple of penalty minutes. I think that second tripping was it could have went either way, as it looked like he got a majority of the stick, but still ended up going to the box. But overall, I think they both played a game that their parents can be proud of them, and I think they can be proud at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen either of the penalties, but one of the other big stories was last night's prospect game for the CHL, and the North Bay Battalion, they were represented by goaltender Charlie Robertson. He came in to play the second half of that contest, making 11 saves, giving up 2 goals, was the eventual loser in the record, but he didn't look out of place in that prospect game.
Yeah, he saved 11 shots. He had 11 saves on 13 shots. And I think the biggest thing for the battalion is the fact that he was healthy enough to play. We talked about how they called it Michael McIver to kind of take his spot on that game against it was the Sudbury game. So the big question was, well, what's going to happen when they play the Niagara Oshawa? It looks like potentially Robertson will be back in time for those games. If not, maybe McIver goes in one of those. They are kind of some weaker teams, so it's not the big end of the deal. But it's a good news for Battalions fans that Robertson looks like he's doing okay.
Yeah, and just getting back to the action, the OHL really doing a job in the CHL prospect as Team White winning it by a score of 4-2. Robertson on Team Red, and the 4 goals for Team White all scored by OHL players. Colby Barlow, Carson Riekoff, Luca Pinelli, the Ottawa 67s with the game winner, and Callum Ritchie. So a couple names there that are familiar around this arena. So that's something that I want to just comment on, is why not come out and see those players? These are the players that are the next generation in the NHL, and we get a great opportunity to see them inside this building on a regular basis.
Yeah, and you see even some of the guys from the battalion. You look, Kyle McDonald is not a guy who, he's a potential, even though he's not signed right now as an overager. I'd be very surprised if he walks away from this so far with 18 goals on the year. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get a contract next year in some capacity, whether it be the AHL or in the NHL, and he's a big guy. He could play. You see Matvei Petrov, the Edmonton Oiler prospect, who's absolutely amazing. Ty Nelson. There's a lot of people just who play for the battalion on an everyday basis, but multiple times a week you get to see them, and there's a lot of talent. And then unfortunately Shane Wright not playing in the game here this evening, but there are some guys, like when you looked at Connor McDavid when he played for Erie, there are a lot of really generational type players that we get to see on a day-to-day basis, and it's easy to take advantage, not take advantage, I should say, of the opportunity to be able to see these guys, because they are some fantastic players, and you're seeing the future develop right in front of you.
And what an atmosphere here tonight. This is probably the loudest I've heard this building in some time, as the Garden faithful have really shown their support behind the North Bay Battalion tonight. And it's just such a treat seeing these two teams that are right now 8 and 9 in the country go head-to-head as a potential maybe OHL final that might see later on this season.
Yeah, and here at the front line, we've all had this kind of circled on our calendar for a little bit, knowing this was going to be a great team, especially when you consider they've been playing some weaker competition, right? There have been a lot of 7-3 games, it seems, lately, and this has been easily the best game that we've seen, both from both sides of the puck. The Battalion in that second period playing the best hockey that we've seen since since coming back from the Christmas break. The Windsor Spitfire really having to test DiVincentis, test this defense, and so far the Battalion with the 3-2 edge, but this has been the best 40 minutes of hockey that we've seen in a long time here in Memorial Gardens.
Yeah, we won't have another opportunity to see the North Bay Battalion again until February 2nd when Mississauga comes back to town, as they will be on the road this weekend. They'll be in Niagara to play the Ice Dogs on Saturday, and then a Sunday evening affair in Oshawa as they will take on the Generals, a 6:05 start on the Sunday evening, and then they'll be in Sudbury on February 1st and back in town to take on the Steelheads for February 2nd. So hopefully not much of a Groundhog Day for the Battalion, as we don't want to see what happened to them just days ago when they were down in Mississauga, which saw them fall 5-4.
And they've played a much, again, their first period, it wasn't bad, but it could have been a lot better. That second period, they're playing a lot better. If they can finish that game the same way they played in that second half of that second period, the big question, if I'm Ryan Houlihan and Adam Dennis, I'm looking at how do they approach the Niagara and Oshawa games. Again, Niagara, a team you're playing, the next team you're playing, they're the bottom of the entire Ontario Hockey League in points. Are you bringing that same intensity, that same game into that contest, or are you kind of converting back to the ways that we've seen them play before? And again, every point matters. There's 2 points behind Ottawa, and they're 2 points ahead of Windsor in the total OHL standing. So every point does matter when it comes to, and we're getting close to the end of the season. Before you know it, there's only 2 months left.
Well, we can't get too far ahead of ourselves, as there's still 20 minutes left here, as it's the Windsor Spitfires trailing the North Bay Battalion by a score of 3-2. When we return after this break, Matt Sukram will rejoin Ben Sargent for all of your action here on the Frontline broadcast.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent. 20 minutes on the clock. North Bay have a 3-2 lead, and as we said before the end of the period, the Battalion are 22-1-1 when they lead after 2 periods. They're just 1-10-0 when they trail after the second, so those were 2 big goals to get there by Bloom and McDonald.
Yeah, and hopefully, unlike Hamilton, where they ended up taking the lead in that third period and blowing it, they're a team that's very good defensively in third period. We need to see them come out to the same start that they had in that last half of that second period.
Puck sent down the ice into the North Bay zone. Hislop held against the boards, but Nelson helps him out to get the puck. He sends it up to the near side to Petrov, who bounces it off the boards and sends it down into the Windsor zone. Comes back out to the neutral zone. North Bay send it back in, but a delayed offside called against them. Actually, no, they never touched the puck there, so play continues as Petrov has it in the neutral zone and dumps it back in. Now Petrov gets it off the boards, goes towards the net, he's tripped up, and that's going to be a call coming up against Windsor as they are going to get sent to the box for tripping with 19:23 remaining in the third.
Should have given him a penalty shot. That would have been nice. But no, yeah. The thing with, I think that didn't get called. The fans would not be happy. There were a couple of missed interference calls that weren't called on McDonald earlier in this hockey game. So the Battalion get a chance for their second power play of the evening.
Nelson off the draw, sends it to the right side to Petrov. The shot comes in from the point and it goes just wide. And that allows Windsor to pick up the puck and send it down the ice. As you said, second power play of the game for the North Bay Battalion. The Spitfires are 0 for 2 on their chances. Nelson to McDonald to Bloom over the blue line. He sends it towards the net. It's deflected, goes to the near side corner. McDonald with a hard hit, sending his man to the floor. The pass goes to the shot goes to Petrov. He caught it to keep it in the zone. But then his pass up the boards got knocked away by the Spitfires and sent down the ice. 1:15 to play in the North Bay power play. They come in with the 12th ranked power play in the OHL as they send the puck in behind the net. Sent back up high to Nelson, across to the right side, Petrov. Back to Nelson, one-time shot, and it rifles wide of the net. Petrov keeps it in at the blue line. Works to the middle, up high. Down low to the circle. Now Bloom has it there. His shot is blocked. Petrov gets the puck back from clearing the zone. Petrov cross pass to McDonald. The shot comes in. Save made by Costanzo. The Windsor Spitfires can't clear. It's McDonald again on the near side. At the boards, into the corner, looking for space. McDonald, the puck gets knocked off his stick, and it's sent down the ice.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Battalion, get a little tired as they need to change. They've been out there for about a minute and a half, or else Petrov might have been able to keep that in. McDonald, I would have liked to see him come a little bit closer to the net there on that play, playing a little bit too close to the boards there. But either way, not a great power play for the Battalion, not getting much opportunities.
10 seconds to go. They send it in. It bounces off the side of the net. Sent now to the half boards. Zito's there. Behind the net, Van Steensel. Now it's Romani who sends it back up high to Zito. Comes to the slot. The shot goes high. Off the boards, it is Luke in there. He kicks it back in the corner, but the Spitfires take over. The power play is ended, and now they turn it over in their own zone. Romani has it. He goes behind the net. Now goes to the middle of the zone, and then as he dragged it to that area, it's poked off his stick by Renwick and cleared out of the zone. Shot right back in with 17 minutes to play in the third. 3-2 score for the Battalion as Romani brings it down the left wing. Goes in behind the net. Centers it, and they fan on the shot. But it caught up in some skates in the slot. Now Windsor gets some clearance, and they get out of the zone. Again, back to 5-on-5 here as Greentree comes in. He sends it off his stick over the glass and out of play with 16:43 remaining in the third.
And even though the Battalion didn't score on that play, and they had a couple of good chances, but not amazing. The biggest thing they did was burn off the clock, and that's kind of what this game has become for the Battalion. It's all about trying to get that clock down to 0, right? They've already cut off about just over 3 minutes in this final period, and that's what they do by creating offensive pressure and getting power plays and keeping offensive pressure on Windsor. They're keeping the puck away from their end of the ice, and they're keeping those scoring chances down to a minimal, and that's what the Battalion need to do. When they're playing defensively in the third periods, that's where they struggle.
Face off in the North Bay zone. One to the half boards for Maggio, but Maggio's pass to the middle is blocked by North Bay, and they clear it out of the zone. North Bay out shooting the Spitfires 28-21 to this point. Bloom has it in the neutral zone. He gets over the Windsor blue line, drops it back to McDonald, but McDonald had to kind of bat that one down, and it gets cleared out to the neutral zone where Maggio picks it up from Windsor. Maggio into the North Bay end. He plays it in front of the net. It goes over the crossbar and played off the glass. Now back up high to Maggio. Maggio trying to cut to the middle. He gets stopped, but then he dives at the puck, gets tangled up with Bloom. Bloom gets the puck, heads out of the zone, and they go the other way. But Bloom is just a step ahead as he passes it to McDonald coming over the line. Offside is the call. 16:04 to play in the third. 3-2 North Bay lead.
Well, kind of an interesting flip. If you look at that first period, it was the Battalion struggling to get into the offensive zone. Their passes were hitting skates, they were hitting bodies, and now it seems like it's the other way around. Windsor's having that, they're not passing very crisply, and again, we talk about how your offense can create defense in a way, and the Battalion putting so much pressure on Windsor, they're struggling to get into their kind of offensive mojo going.
Into the Windsor zone. Sent down the right side boards to Alex Christopoulos. He sends it down the ice towards the front of the North Bay net. That's where Lucan has it. The big Battalion import defenseman sends it down through the neutral zone, but it's knocked away from the stick of Zito, and back into the North Bay end come the Spitfires. They play it towards the front of the net. DiVincentis makes the save as he caught it out of midair, and then some pushing and shoving going on in front of the North Bay net, but cooler heads will prevail on that play there.
Well, the biggest thing for the Battalion is they've shut down that top line. You look at that Smith, Harrison, Maggio line, no points on the game so far, and that's been such a, well, Maggio story with an assist, but no goals, no real scoring opportunities. It's been that second line, the Christopouloses, the Mayus, the Smiths. They're getting kind of those kind of scoring opportunities, but keeping Maggio and Harrison off the goal sheet, that has been a huge thing for the Battalion so far in this game.
Face off to the blocker side of DiVincentis. Wakely in the middle. As they collapse in the circle, it is pushed out, and Millette has it on the half boards. He gets pushed in the boards, and off the poke check, the Battalion control the puck. It's Romani sending it down the ice, and it's right towards the goaltender. He didn't know whether to smother it or play it, and now it's sent out to the line. The shot comes in by Kennedy in the middle of the zone, and then deflected away to the blue line. Sent back into the corner on the half boards. The Battalion looking for control. Wakely finds it, knocked off his stick. Going into the corner, he battles there with Jodwin. Wakely and Jodwin continue. Now the puck gets knocked away from that area, and it clears the zone. 15 minutes to go in the third period. 3-2 North Bay lead. It's Van Steensel over the blue line for the Battalion. Goes to the half boards. Now he tries to drag it to the middle. Pushed off his stick, but he gets it back. Finds Romani at the line. Romani with a shot towards the net. That's stopped in front, and the Spitfires are able to clear. They send it up Harrison, who dumps it in the far side corner, where Nelson for the Battalion gets it right back out. In the neutral zone is Bloom, who finds the loose puck. He dumps it into the far side corner. Whipped around the boards. Bloom following it in. He can't control the puck. It's Maggio who has it for the Spitfires, and he gets it out to the neutral zone. Nelson off the board, sends it back the other way. The Spitfires regain possession. Renwick, cross ice pass down the left wing side. Coming in the zone, they score! Liam Greentree, the first-year forward, rifles that one, and it gets low past DiVincentis to tie the game. 3-3 with 14:15 to play.
Well, Nelson is not happy at all. What happened was Maggio kind of interfered with him right at that blue line, and he was not able to kind of get into a good defensive position, and that gave Greentree a really nice opportunity, and he takes advantage of it going that glove side on DiVincentis. And Nelson, a few words with the officials after that, thinking that he should have had a penalty, and unfortunately for the Battalion, it's not the case, and we're all tied up again. And despite how good the Battalion have played in the last probably 15 minutes or so, all it takes sometimes is one shot to tie things up, and that's where we sit right now, 3-3.
Greentree was the 34th overall pick by the Spitfires, an Oshawa native. He came to the Spitfires in this past year's OHL priority selection, and that is his 18th goal and 29th point in his 42nd career OHL game. What a nice pickup there by the Windsor Spitfires to get a first-year forward with that kind of scoring prowess.
Yeah, especially just after coming out of the OHL final as well.
Here comes Jackson down the ice, sends it on net, and it's deflected away. In behind the net. Jackson again, plays it from McDonald's there, but his shot goes high. Jackson back in the corner, has control of the puck. Comes down the board, sends it back in the corner for McDonald. McDonald whips it around the end boards, and it goes to the far side blue line and skips past Christopoulos. And North Bay will have to chase it all the way down into the North Bay zone. Stretch pass out of the zone. Up ahead to McDonald. He dumps it in. 13:20 to play as the Spitfires get it out of their end. Through the neutral zone, over the blue line, to the left side. Smith coming in, the shot. And it's off the shoulder of DiVincentis. Check that was Pierre on that shot. The puck goes to the far side boards. In behind the net, it's Lucan. Lucan dancing around, trying to get away from the pressure behind his own net. And he gets it out to the neutral zone, but the pass is picked off. at the blue line. There's a hard shove on Noah Morneau, who's trying to come into the North Bay zone. Puck stuck on the half boards, and now it's free out of that area as the Spitfires send it back into their own end, and James Jodwin will control it. He gets it up to the blue line, but it's knocked off a skate and to the far side boards. Trying to get out of the area now is Dionisio. He gets it through the neutral zone to Millette. Millette coming in over the blue line to the left wing side. Shot comes in. Glove save made by DiVincentis, and that is going to be his 22nd save of the game.
Yeah, momentum starting to shift a little bit towards Windsor. If you're the Battalion, you want to kind of shake it off. Yes, there could have been a potentially penalty call in there. DiVincentis might have, it was a really good shot from Greentree, but DiVincentis might have felt like he should have had that save when you look at the kind of goaltender he is. But if you're the Battalion, you just got to get right back on there.
Windsor wins the face-off. They send it towards the net. It goes high. Comes back down on the near side boards to Renwick. He flips it all the way to the far side to Maggio. Maggio let it deflect off his stick, and the Battalion control off that deflection and get it out of the zone. It's Nelson carrying it up to the blue line, dumping it in. It's picked up now by the Spitfires. They send it right back through the neutral zone. Carrying it in is Harrison. Drops it back to Greentree. He goes below the circle, and then the puck got knocked off his stick and controlled by Petrov on the near side boards. Now he's in a battle with Greentree. Greentree comes away from that, centers it, bounces off a couple of bodies, and is picked up by Zito. Zito through the neutral zone, up to the red line, and dumps it down off the end boards, and it almost went off the goaltender Costanzo and back towards the net. He came out of his net to play it, and went through his legs, through the blue paint. That would have been an awful bounce to have given up one goal on. North Bay regain control of the puck inside the Windsor zone now. Behind the net, Wakely to left side, Van Steensel. Pass through the slot to Romani. Picked off the boards and sent to Christopoulos. Across to the left side, Hislop. In the middle, Van Steensel deflects it towards the net, goes wide. Off the far side boards, that's Greentree with the puck, and he gets it out to the neutral zone, but it's Van Steensel who picks it up, trying to come back in. It's blocked by Peer. Peer now carries it in over the blue line. And the Spitfire takes some time, sends it down the ice, but that's picked off by Hislop. He tried to get a pass going down the other way, but it's off the stick of Wakely and dumped into the Windsor zone. The Spitfires have control behind their own net. They bring it up to the line and dump it out, and Nelson tries to chip it ahead, but it's blocked, and now Windsor have numbers going the other way. They try to play it in front of the net, and that's turned aside by Lukin and sent down the ice. Icing will be called against North Bay here. 10:32 to play in the third, tied at 3.
Well, if this game stays tied and we end up into overtime, I don't think either team can be upset about the performance that they put on the ice. There have been times when North Bay's been the better team. There have been times when Windsor's been the better team, and I think both coaches would be very happy with their play from both teams with 10 minutes to go. And if you're the Battalion, this is the exactly kind of game that you needed to have after a couple of kind of not so good games against Hamilton and Mississauga, even the game against Sudbury. And you got to be really happy for Ryan Houlihan with the way that this team has played.
In the neutral zone, North Bay push it forward toward the Windsor blue line. Windsor gets it back up to Spellacy, but it's knocked away from his stick, and now North Bay send it the other way, looking for McDonald to spring free, but Jodwin ties up his stick, and he sends it up to the North Bay blue line for Morneau. Morneau sends it all the way back to his own blue line for Dionisio. He gets it back on the half boards, pass across the neutral zone to Jodwin, and Jodwin dumps it into the North Bay end. Picked up off the boards by defenseman Nelson of the Battalion. He sends it off the boards and is back into the Windsor zone. Dionisio in control. He sends it right through the middle. It bounces into the zone. Spellacy gets it off the board, centers it, and the shot comes in towards DiVincentis, and that's where we will take our break. 3-3 the score, halfway through the third here on the Frontline Game Day broadcast.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Derek, you'll have the 3 stars for us after the game. And I don't know if Derek can hear us right now. And if he can, we'll check in with him on the next whistle. We'll try to get Derek back in on the broadcast. But Derek and Ben will have the 3 stars of the game following the conclusion, whether it is in regulation or in overtime. We'll wait and see. The North Bay Battalion have been to overtime 6 times, and the Windsor Spitfires have also been there 6 times. Derek, you'll be talking about the 3 stars after the game, but right now we still got some time before we get there. What are you seeing down on ice level?
You know what? The tempo has stayed the same down here at ice level. Just one little mistake by the battalion left Greentree wide open, and he was allowed to walk into the top of the circle uncontested and was able to beat the 7 centers cleanly to the glove side.
Thanks, Derek. And Derek, as we said, we'll have the La Herda post-game show following the conclusion of this game. Playback underway. It's inside the Windsor zone. Teresevich sending it into the corner. Back to the middle. Teresevich sends it wide of the net. Christopoulos pitching in with a shot. That just goes off the blocker of the goaltender. Costanzo had to get down low to make that save. Puck up to the line, and Greentree will clear, but now he goes back behind his own blue line. Now he sends it forward, picked off by Hislop coming in the zone. Hislop in the middle, tries to send it towards the front of the net, but it's corralled by the goaltender Costanzo and held on to for a stoppage in play.
Well, I don't usually see Hislop jump in the play like that too often, but I like that read there. He goes in front of that puck just to intercept it versus, obviously, if that puck gets by him, it's going to be a pretty clean breakaway for Windsor, but he intercepts that puck and gets a good opportunity. Again, this was similar to the McDonald shot coming off a penalty where, yes, you get a shot on net, but you're setting up a great offensive chance as they get their top line out here trying to break this tie with just under 9 minutes to go.
3-3 the score. McDonald off the draw sends it high. Way over the glass and outplay, and they will reset.
Yeah, you talk about Kyle McDonald. The thing I find very interesting about him is he's a big guy. He's bigger than pretty much every single person that's out there. And, you know, you talk about him playing for an NHL spot. He's a guy I think that if he slotted into an NHL team, at least size-wise, he would not look out of place at all.
And he really didn't, playing at the Ottawa Senators training camp and in that stint with the Belleville Senators before coming back to North Bay. Play inside the North Bay zone. Bloom has it for the Battalion. Sends it down the left wing for McDonald. Knocked away from his stick. Bouncing in the neutral zone. Bloom gets it back. And they're actually going to call a hand pass against the Battalion there. 8:25 to play in the third. 3-3 the score.
I think it's kind of interesting. We highlighted the goaltenders before we started, right? We got one of the best goaltenders in DiVincentis, Costanzo, who's had his problems the last few games, but both goaltenders have played a very good game. You got to give a lot of credit to Costanzo. He's faced 31 shots. He's only given up 3 goals to 28 saves. He's looked very solid, and ironically, going into the end of this game, it's going to be up to the goaltenders to see who breaks this tie.
Sent down the ice into the North Bay zone. Lukin off the glass to the far side. Now it's picked up off the boards by Romani. Romani sends it down the ice. Wakely chasing it. And icing is called against the Battalion there. So 8:08 to go, and Windsor will have the offensive zone face-off. Here is a crazy stat, though, I want to bring up. We talked about how good North Bay has been at scoring goals this year. They are 31 goals ahead of their pace last year. At this point, through 43 games, they had 153 goals scored this year, 184.
They're a good offensive team, and that's the one thing. You add great offense with great goaltending and defense, and that's what makes this team so special.
They've also given up 9 goals less than they had at this time last year. I mean, the goaltending as well from DiVincentis and Robertson have been extremely good.
And one thing you don't see, you see Windsor, you see these 9-5 games, 8-7 games. The Battalion haven't had a lot of those high-scoring games, and they do a really good job of shutting down guys like Maggio and Harrison, who tend to be very, very good players.
Although we did note those stats may be inflated a little bit by all the 7-goal outputs they had over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but you'll take it when you can get it. They'd love to score 7 goals in this game. With 7:25 remaining in the period, it's sent towards DiVincentis, and he gobbles it up for another stoppage in play. 3-3 with 7:25 remaining in the third.
Yeah, well, I think the one thing that they got better last year than this year is they have better defense, I think, this year in front of DiVincentis. They really keep a lot of high-scoring opportunities away from him. And the thing that makes DiVincentis so good is the saves he should make, he makes them, right? Like, if a shot comes in, if you do your job as a defenseman and give him a clean look, generally he's going to make that save. And they break up a lot of opportunities that would go east-west. And, again, they do a great job of shutting down. Maggio, no goals in the game. Harrison, no goals. They're coming off big goal performances against Oshawa. So it's really nice to see them kind of break down those big goal scorers.
And we'll redo the face-off again. Right off the draw, it goes towards DiVincentis, and he'll hold on to it for a stoppage and play. I mean, again, to credit the defense, they've been doing it mostly all season without a guy that was expected to do a lot of the work in Tanias Mathurin. So, yeah, the Battalion have really done a great job this year on both ends of the puck as they send the puck down the ice, and it's going to be icing called once again against the North Bay Battalion. So it's sent into a bit of a lull here in the last minute and a half as no one can really get anything going in either end.
Yeah, you talk about the defense, but Mathurin, who hopefully is somebody they're thinking about maybe getting back in the second round of the playoffs. Hopefully they should get that far. And they also missed Winslow for over 20 games too with an injury, and that really helped. And Winslow has done a lot of a really good job in his last few games.
There's a shot off the draw and a save made by DiVincentis, and we also have to point out they're missing a guy that they picked up just before the deadline in Luke Bertowski, and Bertowski has played in just one game with the North Bay Battalion so far this season due to an injury. Playback underway. Sent to the far side boards. North Bay trying to get the puck out of the zone. And they do, but it's picked up by Christopoulos, who moves it back in over the blue line. Knocked off his stick, chipped out to the neutral zone. Zito trying to get going forward. Played to the right side to Tarasevich. He drops it back to the line for Zito. Zito kicks it back up ahead to Tarasevich. Tarasevich waits and then took a shot, hoping that it would redirect towards Zito, but it got blocked by the defense and turned aside, and now that defense is able to clear it out of the zone. Up ahead to Alex Christopoulos. One-on-one with Winslow at the blue line. Christopoulos tries to dump it in. Winslow blocks it at the near side, but it does trickle past him and gets into the zone. And it goes around behind the net, picked up there by Paul Christopoulos and cleared out of the area. In the Windsor zone, it's sent all the way down the ice. And right into the front of the North Bay net for Nelson. Nelson sends it all the way down, deflected by Bloom into the zone. Bloom sends it to the near side corner. It's knocked out of that area, picked up by the Spitfires. They get it out to the neutral zone, but they can't connect on a pass over the blue line. And now North Bay go the other way. McDonald leading the charge. He collides on the back end of the play with Cristofaro, and they both go down in a heap with McDonald coming in with speed. The puck back out to the neutral zone. McDonald gets up, Cristofaro gets up, and they're both back into the play as the puck goes all the way back into the North Bay zone. It's Nelson there trying to get it out off the glass. It's turned over. Here come the Spitfires. Maggio can't get the shot off. He gets tied up with Nelson, and that allows McDonald to get the loose puck. He skates through the neutral zone, banks it off the boards, and it's sent down the ice. Check that. Costanzo starts it behind the net. The Windsor netminder, he sends it around to the near side and gets it out to the neutral zone. Picked up by Morneau, coming in over the blue line. He tries to center it. That is blocked by Christopoulos, and Paul Christopoulos tries to go into the near side corner. Bounces out of that area behind the net. That's Lukin back there. He plays it to the near side boards to Bloom, and Bloom sends it down the ice for Romani. Romani and DeAngelis going into the corner. They battle there, looking for control of the puck with less than 5 minutes to go now. The puck goes in behind the net, and now it's cleared out ahead to Spellici. Spellici up the middle. Try to get it onto the stick of Morneau. Morneau is shoved in the boards. Now Spellici shoved in the boards as well, but the puck just frozen against the near side boards. Still digging away at it. Now it finally comes out to the neutral zone. And the Spitfires control, and they send it right down into the North Bay end, and icing will be called. And man, if you're either coach, I don't think you've liked the last 5 minutes
on either side. I think what's happening is that both teams are they want to get the go-ahead goal, but they also don't want to give up the go-ahead chance as well. And both teams almost seem like they're kind of content with getting that 1 point, getting to overtime and saying, look, we'll try to figure it out from there. But overall, there's definitely been a different fire from both of these teams so far in the last 5 minutes, but I think it's just both teams are trying very hard not to be the one who messes up here.
And I think giving up a point to a non-conference opponent isn't the end of the world either. Zito behind the net. Plays it to the right side corner. Now to the line. Now's the shot comes in. And it's deflected just wide by Tarasevic. Ricochets off the end boards out to the neutral zone. North Bay regain it. They had it over the line. Poke check made. It comes back out. Petrov tried to play it up ahead. That got stopped, and now the Spitfires go the other way. Pierre coming in. Puts it on net. Where'd the puck go? It went off the side of the net and then picked up off the half boards on the far side by Tarasevic. He can't clear the zone, though. The Spitfires try to play it right in the middle of the zone, and it's Pierre there. He goes off the board, sends it to point. Jodwin shot comes in, blocked by the Battalion. Tarasevic had a chance to clear, and again he gets blocked. Puck on the far side boards. Pass to the point is picked up by Zito. Zito sends it up to Tarasevic. 1-on-1 in the zone, and Tarasevic's shot is wide. Now it's Zito on the near side point. He sends it towards the slot. It goes up high off a stick, and then corralled on the near side boards. Cleared by the Spitfires. Hislop hauls it down in the neutral zone. He tried to get up ahead to Bloom. Bloom comes in on the left wing side, into the corner, or in the circle. Tried to center it to Jackson, but he overskates the puck. The Spitfires can't clear. Off a couple of skates, it's stopped at the line, and now it's cleared. Greentree tries to bring it down the ice. He gets blocked by Christopoulos. At the blue line, Jackson sends it forward. It's Bloom on the puck. Now he lost it blocking it. It's Harrison who carries it in, and he fires it wide of the North Bay net. Now, shot from Maggio comes in. And that's stopped as well by DiVincentis, pushing it into the corner. Jackson finds it there, gets it out to the neutral zone to McDonald. Over the blue line, takes a shot, and it's high. Ricocheted off the glass to the slot, but nobody there for North Bay. 2:20 to play in the third period.
Lots of sloppy passing from both these teams so far. And that's what we kind of see. And again, a lot of pucks hitting off the bodies of both these teams, and nobody able to get really, really good opportunities.
2 minutes to play now in the third period. 3-3 the score. Windsor turn the puck over. Romani has it at the top of the circle. Skates to the middle. The shot goes off a stick over the glass and out of play. 3-3 with under 2 minutes to play in the third period.
Well, Anthony Romani's had one heck of a game so far.
He has
an assist. Should have had a goal, I think, earlier on, as he was not able to get that puck over the glove of Costanzo, but he's looked very strong. His stick handling's been on point today. He's been creating opportunities. He's been getting shots on net. And you got to be really happy if you're Ryan Olahan with the play that Anthony Romano has brought. And that whole third line with Wakely and Van Stietzel, really, when the other lines haven't been doing very, Petrov, Zito, Tarasevic, that line hasn't created a lot of opportunities. But so far, it's that third line that's holding them up so far in this hockey game.
So they dropped the puck. The official didn't like what he saw. So they'll do it again, but they're going to wave Wakely out of the circle. Romani and Van Stiesel switch spots. Van Stiesel goes into the middle, and the puck is dropped, and Windsor wins the draw and sends it all the way down the ice. Lukin in front of the circle sends it up ahead to the neutral zone. Picked up by the Spitfires there, and they bring it down the ice. Knocked off the glass to the near side boards. Renwick has it there. He fires it in. It's off the blocker of DiVincentis and punched out over the glass and out of play. Just one goal so far here in the third period. That was scored by Liam Greentree, his 18th of the season at 5:45, and that has tied the game at 3.
And that was probably a big sigh of relief for Windsor, who was struggling to get opportunities on DiVincentis. And again, a perfect shot right on the inside part of the post, but one I think DiVincentis would have liked to have glove side. That being said, though, I think right now we've seen this in the last 8 minutes or so. Both teams really not trying to do anything too bad to make it, and I think both teams would be happy with just a point at this point.
Out to the neutral zone, chasing that puck down are the Spitfires. They play it forward. Coming in on the right side is Pierre. Stops at the top of the circle, then plays it in along the end boards. Maggio there, gets pushed into the corner, and the puck now picked up by Lukin in that area. Lukin gets it out to Tarasevic down the right wing side. Tarasevic sends it in off the corner, now behind the net, and sent back out to the line. It's McDonald who has it. McDonald centers it to Petrov. The shot just goes high of the net. Now McDonald behind the net, buries it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. The Big Mac with his second goal of the game. And this one gives the Battalion a 4-3 lead with 57 seconds remaining on the clock as he tucks it in under the pads of Costanzo, just like when they put the extra pickles that you order on the Big Mac.
Well, who else was there but Matvei Petrov, who takes a shot that goes wide, and it's McDonald. This is why he's such a good goal scorer. He immediately sees that puck. He sees a wide open side of the cage, and he just takes it and puts it in a wide open part of the net past Costanza, who just doesn't have time to react. That is the kind of keen anticipation that you need to have as a goal scorer, and that's what McDonald brings. And man, he's a former Windsor Spitfire. He comes back from injury, and what an impact he's had on this hockey team so far.
19th goal of the season for number 19, and he may have just stolen a point away from his former team. Goaltender is pulled. Costanzo to the bench. 6-on-5 for the Spitfires, and they have the puck in the offensive zone. Christopher shot in on net. Save made. Rebound chance. Just pushed away by the defense of the Battalion. In the far side corner. It comes out in front. They kick it back to the half boards. Greentree from the area gets it to Christopoulos, but he can't get the shot off, and it's cleared. 20 seconds to go. Cristofaro dumps it in off the end board. Steven Chentis leaves it there for Paul Christopoulos. Paul Christopoulos sends it down the lights, and he scores! Paul Christopoulos with one of the longest goals he will ever score from below his own face-off circle. And he says, hey brother, I saw you do one in the first period, but I'm going to do one better. That one will ice the game. Christopoulos makes it 5-3 with 10 seconds to go.
And how about 2 points for him? And his brother Alex with his stick on his knees, not happy about it. Number one, that kind of wastes the game. But number two, I'm sure he's going to hear about that one as we get later on. What a game from the North Bay Battalion. Windsor played a good game, but you got to give it to the Battalion coming in the second half of the game and really putting this game on ice in the last minute.
Second goal of the season for Christopoulos, and the Battalion win 5-3 over the Windsor Spitfires, who lead the Western Conference. The Battalion creeping ever closer to the Ottawa 67s. And at this point, as we stand right now, the North Bay Battalion are tied with the Ottawa 67s for 64 points for the top spot in the OHL's Eastern Conference.
Yeah, not too much more you can say about this game. What an absolute great game for the Battalion. And you know how they've played in the last 10 or 11 games. You got to be happy with their game playing, and what a well-deserved win for the troops here this afternoon.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure to bring you this one. I'm Matthew Sukram. I'm going to sign off, but don't go away. The La Herda Imports post-game show is coming up right after this. Ben and Derek will break down this game for you right here from Memorial Gardens. It's the Average Joe's Game Day broadcast right here on the Frontline Broadcast YouTube channel.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items, or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
Well, wasn't that a game, Ben, as the North Bay Battalion hold on for a 5-3 victory over the Windsor Spitfires. Let's take a look at the scoring summary in the third period as the Battalion held a 3-2 lead going into the final frame. But Liam Greentree, with his 18th of the season, tied it up for the Spitfires at 5:45. DeAngelis and Renwick with the assist on Greentree's goal. And then Kyle McDonald with the game winner coming at 19:02. His 19th of the season, second of the game from Zito and Petrov. And then the insurance marker into the open cage at 19:49. It was Paul Christopoulos with his second of the year from Dom DeVincentis. So both Christopoulos is finding their way onto the goal sheet. Taking a look at shots in the third period, the Spitfires 10 shots for a total of 31. Battalion 7 for a total of 34. Neither team was able to capitalize with the man advantage. Both teams going 0 for 2 in the contest. And in the face-off dot, the North Bay Battalion doing an excellent job, winning 41 of the 68 draws tonight. Taking a look around the OHL, 3 games going on in tonight's action as we take a look at the out-of-town scoreboards. First off, the Flint Firebirds were able to hold on for a 5-1 victory in Hamilton over the Bulldogs. The Niagara Ice Dogs squeak one out, a 5-1 victory over the Erie Otters. And late in the third period, the Peterborough Petes holding on to a 3-0 lead. 24 seconds remaining in that contest over the London Knights. Let's take a look now at our 3 stars tonight, as brought to you by Dave's Automotive.
Tonight's 3 stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Third star from the Windsor Spitfires tonight, Alex Christopoulos getting a goal in his return here to Memorial Gardens. Second star from the North Bay Battalion with a goal and assist, Josh Bloom. And our first star tonight with the game winner, 2 goals on the evening, Kyle McDonald. What a night for the North Bay Battalion. Really looking up their game as they were taking on the 8th-ranked Windsor Spitfires in the nation, and they proved something here tonight.
Yeah, and you kind of guessed in the last about half of that period, that third period, that both teams were kind of okay with just getting a point. Neither team wanted to give up that go-ahead goal. Neither team wanted to make that big, crucial mistake late in the game. And again, points are so crucial at this point, even though there's still 2 months to go. Look, London lost, which is big for Windsor, who's 3 points ahead of them right now. And the Battalion, as of now, are tied with Ottawa, pending on, obviously they've got a game in hand, but pending on how that kind of their next contest goes. And you got to feel good for the Battalion, who it looks like this was destined for overtime, but it's Kyle McDonald who always seems to score in bunches. It's usually not just 1 goal, it's usually 2 or more, and he does it yet again on a goal scorer's goal behind the net. He has the patience and mind to quickly get the puck around and get a shot up on Costanza, who just didn't have any chance on that play off a missed shot from Matvei Petrov.
Kyle McDonald still heating things up here. 19 goals now in 21 games with the North Bay Battalion. This is what we thought we'd see from from McDonald this year. It was just a case of whether or not when he'd get healthy enough to return.
Yeah, and you look at 9 goals in 6 games as well for McDonald. And again, he scores in bunches, and I think he works so well on that Bloom and Jackson line. I think obviously Petrov was the guy who kind of created that play with the missed shot, but I think that he plays so well with those other guys because they are such good playmakers and they put him in such good spots, and he finds where he can score on the ice and he takes advantage of it. And what a shot that kid has. And once again, he's going to be a guy who's going to be on some sort of NHL team, I think, next year, if not AHL team, and I think he'll make somebody very happy with the way that he's playing this year.
And we talked about Paul Christopoulos for the North Bay Battalion, leading with that plus 35 coming into tonight's game. he's that character, the defenseman that Ulan can rely on in the dying minutes, and he showed it tonight and got rewarded with that empty net marker. So a great job by Paul Christopoulos, not wanting to be outdone by his brother Alex.
I think this was one of his better games too. You could tell that fire because he played really well defensively. Yes, he was a big part of that second goal of Josh Bloom's goal in that second period. But I thought his defense was really solid. I think you could tell that he wanted to outplay his brother, and his brother not too happy when he scored that empty net goal, as he was kind of had his stick on his knees, and you could tell that. I'm sure he's going to hear about that a little bit later on.
Dom DeVincentis having another stellar performance, gets an assist to go along with his numerous saves. Looks strong at times. That third goal probably would have liked to have back. He got beat from just outside the face-off circle. It's not usual for us to see him get beat from that far out, but only 3 goals against.
And you have to give a lot of credit to Greentree. That was a really nice shot. It was right on the inside part of the post. It's not a save that I think is an automatic save for DeVincentis, but with DeVincentis being as good as it is, you almost expect him to make that save. And I guarantee you after he made that, he thought that was on him. But overall, I think he played a very excellent game. I think the defense in front of him, especially in the last 40 minutes, played very, very well in front of him, really not giving them too many opportunities. And look, this is a Windsor team who scores a lot of goals. This is the first time they've been underneath 4 goals in their last 8 games. They generally score 5 or more. And Windsor also did a good job keeping the Battalion off the score sheet. They came off allowing 16 goals in the last 2 games and only allowed 5 with an empty net here. But overall, I thought it was a great team for both of them. And if that game went to overtime, I think both coaches would have been happy with the extra point. I think they both deserved it. But the Battalion squeaked it in the last minute.
A great performance by both teams tonight. A potential OHL final showdown, even though the Windsor Spitfires were missing the likes of Shane Wright and Sobolov, who were both in the press box tonight, 2 very key players, but the Battalion doing an excellent job skating with a team like the Spitfires.
Yeah, and you look who they shut down. They shut down Harrison, they shut down Maggio. They're 2 of their best goal scorers, and I think that's a big thing as well. We see this a lot. Guys come into this arena. They are very good goal scorers, but the Battalion find ways to shut them down, and they have to rely on secondary scoring. If you look at the Greentrees and the Christopouloses and so forth, and I think that shows how good of a defensive team this team is, as they really do a good job shutting down the number 1 guys.
Well, the Battalion will be on the road this weekend. They'll be in Niagara Saturday for a contest against the Ice Dogs, and then they will be in Oshawa to take on the Generals. That's a 6:05 start Sunday evening. And then they'll conclude a 3-game road trip as they are in Sudbury on Wednesday the 1st. The next action here for the Battalion will be on February 2nd against the Mississauga Steelheads. You can see that here on the Frontline broadcast. And if you can't wait till then to get your hockey fix, the Frontline will be down the road tomorrow night in Powassan as the Voodoos play host to the Hearst Lumberjacks. And this weekend, the U18 Trappers will have a pair of games against the Kapuskasing Flyers. Sunday evening, it's a 7:30 start here from Memorial Gardens, and then a 2:30 start on Sunday. All of that will be here on the Frontline YouTube channel. You can catch it all. It will be Courtney Kenny on the call tomorrow night down in Powassan as they are taking on the Lumberjacks. One last time here from Memorial Gardens. Make the final here. The North Bay Battalion 5, the Windsor Spitfires 3. For all of us here at the Frontline, Matt Sukram, Ben Sargent, our producer Ben Long, I'm Derek Lindeman, saying so long until we do this again.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.